Okay, I'd like to call the Monday, March 23rd, 2026 Select Board meeting to order. It is just a little bit after 7 o'clock. Please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Okay, we're going to do things a little bit out of order tonight. We are going to start actually with Planning Board Associate Member appointment, only because, is everyone here? Yes. Thin, are you in a class of 7 or teaching at 7?
Stand there.
He's double muted?
Tell him to raise his hand. Judy doesn't know who he is.
Oh!
It's Stunts. The last name's Stunts.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Hello.
are.
So
Are
I'm taking a class.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
actually I'm taking a beekeeping class.
Oh, that's so cool. All right, very cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's get right to it. Well, no, because if you were teaching, I was going to say, oh boy, you better do this another night then.
No, I'm just showing up.
Okay, sounds good. And Mark's here also. Awesome. Let's see. All right. So we all received an email. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My pen's in there too. I was so prepared. So just to remind everybody, our plan tonight was to formalize the planning board's decision. Both candidates who volunteered are they've volunteered in planning roles and land use roles before. They're both qualified, and our plan had been just to move forward with the planning board's decision. But we did receive an email from Rebecca Werner and Cindy Markowitz this afternoon. Just wanted to clarify the process. And I think we were aware of it. I can't remember if it was Alec or Mike that explained it at our last meeting, that the planning board first voted to recommend a candidate, and it was 3 for Than and 2 for Mark. And then when they voted to appoint, they voted 5-0 in favor of Than. Now, Rebecca, are you here? Because I just want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly.
That is what happened.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I don't think Rebecca is on, but that's accurate what happened. So I think the idea was that when they are happy to have me on the planning board, they would the ones in the minority would have preferred Mark, but they're happy to have me as well. So when that was the candidate being there.
Okay, all right, sounds good. And thanks to Wes, we did have it, we were gonna do this at our last meeting, but we didn't have the process quite correct in terms of open meeting law and all that. So we'll be following that same process, first to recommend and then to appoint. Now what you all need to know, and it's in the email from Rebecca also, is that a majority of the votes of the officers, basically they're gonna aggregate our recommendation numbers.
Right.
And then, as long as it's a majority, we'll move forward. If it's a tie, the moderator breaks the tie.
Okay.
Any other explanation on that, just to be sure we're all in process?
Nope, that's what I read also.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns before we do this?
What are we doing?
We are recommending a candidate.
But before that, I would like to interview the candidates.
Sure. All right. Sounds good. So I was going to do just one very broad question, and that was, why, wait, where is it? I wrote it. Why would you like to be the planning board associate member? You're both talented, you both have experience, you both have knowledge. So I was pretty much going to open it up like that. That'll be my question, and then if any of the rest of the board of select board has questions, they can ask them. Is that fair?
Sure. Sounds good.
All right. Mark, since you're here, do you want to grab the mic or do you want Than to go first?
Happy to grab.
Oh, you got to grab, the mic is there.
Yeah.
These are my reading glasses. Awesome. So why would you like to be the planning board associate member?
I would like to be the planning board associate member because I have unique skills that I can apply to the benefit of the town of Boxborough. My objective would be to make sure that we achieve mostly majority votes whenever possible. The role of the associate member is to rule on special permits. I have an extensive background in that regard. I for 10 years supported professionally in my career. I supported planning board ZBAs. I wrote decisions. I made findings. I helped organize them, and I kept them out of trouble a lot. So that's one of the, side benefits of having a background in it, is that you know how to, if you're going to deny an application, make it a defensible decision, and so on. So, and I'd like to try and listen to all sides, make sure that everybody gets fair representation. But primarily, it's just to do what I can for the town with the skills that I have.
And you're currently on the zoning board, right?
And I'm currently the chair of the Zoning Appeals Board.
Okay, all right.
I'm also the chair of the BBRS subcommittee on the residential building code. It's not in my resume because it's a little new.
Congratulations.
So when the 11th edition building code comes out in a couple of years, my group will be the group that has created the building code that we'll all be following. And there are different points of view, strong personalities. You have firefighters represented, you have building officials, you have home builders, and they all have different ideas, and they can get pretty passionate.
And different motivations too, I
But-
bet, right?
Yeah, my goal is, as the chair, is to try and moderate them all, make them come up with as unified answers, make compromises where you can, and treat everybody with respect.
Okay. Anybody else have a question for Mark?
I just have one, and maybe Wes can help.
Well, we could just go right down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, you mentioned that you're on 2 other committees. If you were to become the associate member, could you stay on the other committees, or would you have to bow off the other committees?
I think they're both would be appointments by the select board. So
Yeah.
if the select board wanted me off one of those boards, then I would probably get off one of those boards. The one for the state, I was appointed by the Office of Public Safety and Inspections Chief, and that is a daytime position, and it would not impact my ability to be on the planning board.
Okay, great.
Great.
Wes, do you have anything?
What is your job?
Full-time job.
Like, what is your full-time job? Like, I don't,
Oh, I thought I gave you guys my resume. Perhaps
Remind
I
us.
didn't.
We might
Just
have, but
remind
go ahead,
us.
just briefly.
I'm a state building inspector.
thank you.
Prior to that, that was my years of supporting both planning boards and zoning appeals boards, 10 years of staff support, zoning appeals board, and 3 years specifically of a planning board. After that, I moved to a bigger community where they had a bigger community development department. That was, I was a building commissioner for 6 years in Fitchburg, and prior to that, 3 years in Oak Bluffs. I took a 3-year hiatus from Boxborough, rented my house, and moved to Oak Bluffs. Quite an experience. Great place, wonderful people.
Thank you.
Priya, do you have anything?
No.
Sam?
Nope.
All right, Dan, you're up. Why would you like to be the planning board associate member?
So mostly, to help the town and give the planning board a perspective of somebody who is not, I'm not immersed in this the same way that that Mark is. It's to help set policy of what does the town want out of these developments, and how can we, what is happening, and how do we support that, and how do we make sure it happens within the realm of what Foxborough wants and allows. So it's looking at it much more of a policy direction from my perspective than a nuts and bolts, which trees are planted where. We pay people to do that. We have places for that for the planning board. So it's helping take a look at the overall things, and so this is mostly just in the discussions of the planning board day to day. The associate member, for those who don't know, is only able to vote in special permit situations. So where it needs a majority vote, and you can't get that with, or the applicant would like a full board to vote if there is a recusal. So it's much more, from my perspective, for the day-to-dayness, helping the board take a look at the sensibleness and how it fits within Boxborough, making sure that it works with Boxborough's rules and regulations, and that it keeps with the character of Bucks. So that's mine. From my position is from a town person who's been around a long time and knows and cares about the town. So I am also, I served with Mark. He's wonderful on the ZBA. The same bit of, we both would be, either one of us would be on both boards in that scenario.
Sounds good. All right, so we'll just move down the
I just
line.
want to say Than's wonderful too. I'm happy that Than made it on as a
So no matter who gets chosen, you'll still be friends.
We'll still be friends.
Okay,
No hard
just want to
feelings
make
with
sure,
Than.
still be friends, because you know it's important. Okay, we'll move down, well, you answered my question, and also the other question about what other boards you're serving on in town, so, okay, great.
Yep.
So we'll move down the line. Bob, do you have any other questions for Than?
Yeah, just a real quick one. Than, as you mentioned, you've got a class tonight, and I know from a full-time job, now that I'm retired, it took a lot of time. Are you going to be okay being the associate member on the planning board?
Yeah. So this is it actually is tonight and tomorrow night, and the class is done.
Oh.
It was it's an 8-week class. So it's beginning beekeeping. My father-in-law keeps bees, and he handed me a couple of hives in the fall and said, "Have at it." And so I'm just like, okay, what do I do? So that's it's not nights and weekends is my regular crazy life, but I can fit a lot of things in with it. So.
No, great. Good. Yeah, like I said, no, I'm good. Thank you.
Wes? Priya? Sam?
Well, Wes asked Mark what his day job was, so I guess.
Okay.
What's your day job?
So I actually just started a new job today.
Oh,
So it's a banner day for me. So I am the VP of engineering for an election ballot company. So if Foxborough is looking for a new company to run our elections, I've got an in on a company. I can, works for me if you guys hire up.
Gotcha.
But no, I'm going to be responsible for the hardware and software of an election company. So a company called Clear Valley.
All right.
So
Sounds like-
I grew up doing software engineering, and that's my background.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure.
All right. So any further discussion from the board? I'll entertain a motion if there's no further discussion.
I'll move to recommend that Than Stun.
Well, I think you have to do a roll call vote, because the email, so we have to.
No, I thought we make the recommendation and then do a roll call vote. I thought we do the roll call vote, not, so in other words, we have to make a recommendation to roll call vote it. And it's gonna be yes or no, right? I did kind of ask, hey, is anybody from the planning board here that can tell us how you did it? Because Mike and I did talk about this ahead of the meeting, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, how do we do this?
There's like a full floor.
So if I make a.
Mark, can you tell me how you guys did it?
Yeah, Mark, Rich, and Chris are.
Or Rich, or who else is there? I'm just going down the line.
I just unmuted.
Thank you.
Fill vacancies by roll call vote.
No, I know, but don't you have to make a recommendation to have the roll call vote? Because
Well, you
otherwise,
would
how do
just
you,
do a roll
let me
call
just
vote.
ask Mike how they did it. Mark.
Mark, it's, you make a recommendation first. You can't have a roll call vote until you make a recommendation.
That was my thought process too. But Wes, what was your thought process?
Well, I was just saying, if we're doing a roll call vote, you can do like it's fine.
Well, no,
Works.
Okay.
I just wanted to be consistent with how the planning board did it. Chris, your hand is up.
Yeah, I guess you might have the option of doing an informal straw poll first to see if there's an obvious majority, and then that would be the motion.
Is that what you guys did? You did a straw vote first, or someone
Yes.
just made a recommendation?
Yeah, I think we did the straw poll first.
Okay. Okay, so I think it's 6 to 1, half a dozen of another though, isn't it?
You can't vote without a recommendation. So somebody needs to make a recommendation, then you need to vote.
Right. All right, then I'll entertain a recommendation.
So I move to recommend Than Stun for the appointment of the planning board associate member.
And then we're going to roll call vote this.
Second.
All right, Priya seconded. Is there any further discussion? So this is just the recommendation, we're not appointing. We'll start at the end. Sam? So it's either yes, you recommend, or no, you don't recommend. So yes,
Yes,
move
I
stand
recommend.
forward, no says, okay.
Yes, I
All right.
recommend.
Priya,
Yes.
Wes,
No.
Sample I.
and Hilberg, aye. Okay, so we're gonna follow the planning board's lead. We're gonna move this forward. So now we're going to move to appoint Dan Stunts.
I move to appoint Thea Dunn as Planning Board Associate Member for the term ending June 30th, 2029.
No, I don't believe this needs to be roll call vote, does it?
No, because you're.
This one's, yeah, we already did that. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oh,
Opposed?
do we need a second?
I thought you seconded it.
No, second.
I moved
second.
it.
Okay.
All right, second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain. Mark, you are supremely qualified, so I don't want you to think this, anything else, but we had two great candidates, and we're just going to follow their lead, and off we go.
All right,
So
thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Than.
All right, thank
All
you
right,
very much.
good luck at your
Have a good
beekeeping
meeting.
class.
I will, thank you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye. Okay, now we have public input, comments from residents on non-agenda items. So if it's something that's coming up later, and for some reason you can't be here, feel free to give your opinion, but if you are staying the course and have something to say about anything on the agenda, let's wait until we're actually discussing that agenda item. Is there anyone who has anything to say right this moment? One hand up. I cannot read that.
It's Lavanya.
Lavanya.
Lavanya Lavanya.
Lavanya. Oh, that's my granddaughter's name, but we say Lavinia.
Okay.
Two friends.
Oh, hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Lavanya, aha, how are you? I could not read it till it got big up there.
This is Lala from Two Friends Chocolate.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you guys doing?
Good, thank you. What's going on?
I'm here regarding the plastic bans that's going to affect our business here in Boxborough.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's okay, I can just take a moment and say why it is going to affect us and what the impact is going to do that for our business.
Sure. So just so you know, Lala, we can't discuss it with you or have a conversation. You can give us all of your opinions, and if it's something you'd like us to take up at a future meeting, we can. But this does go into the public record. If I just nod and say thank you, I just want you to know why I'm nodding and saying thank you.
I just want to give my thoughts on this so that more people can know why we are here and what's the problem that we are going to face as a business here in Boxborough. So being in business for 5 years and a resident of 10 years in Boxborough, this is going to affect me more as in business. So here, when we started, chocolate by itself is more like premium, and then the aesthetic looks comes from the packaging mostly. And for, people have to see it to see what is inside to buy it, right? That's where the plastic that we use, that BOPP material, to showcase our beautiful products. If this ban is come in play, if it is a lot, it's going to affect our business substantially. And I can't even explain in what way, because most of our products are using plastic bags to display our product. And when we started, that being said, when we started our drinking things that daily Coke cups, everything is compostable, and we make sure that everything what we can do at the best to be sustainable, we just do everything compostable in terms of wherever we could. But being the nature of the product, there are certain things we won't be able to accommodate. And with all this economic and all the prices going up, anything to replace as a business, for us, it's going to be more difficult.
Okay. So you mean, only because I shop at your shop, so it's the plastic bags the chocolate goes in so that I can actually see what it is?
Exactly. Now for Easter, we just put bunnies and the chicks, everything in a plastic bag. It's a FDA approved plastic bags. So that way people see it, how beautiful it is. And that's how they see and buy it. So, yep. So that's, if this ban comes in place, it's going to affect our business substantially.
Okay. All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like the select board to know?
Lala, does it also impact, if you have a box of candies, and does it have, how the squares has, the plastic things? Is that
I
also
kind of
part?
overstepped by asking a question.
I'm not supposed to ask.
I know.
Sorry.
Wes
Okay.
reminded me I wasn't supposed to either. I just wanted to be sure I understood what she was saying.
Okay.
Sorry.
Kristen, you're going to be discussing this for the warrant.
Yeah, so you know what?
Stay on, or?
Yeah, we will be talking about this later when we go through the warrant. So that is a planning board article. So we will be talking about it under 5D, if you want to hang out. Otherwise, we'll just, we'll bring this up again when we get there.
Sure. It's just like I just want to let more people to know. It is just not like we are just saying because it's just me as a business, and also like as I'm in economic committee too, and we talk about like bringing business to Boxborough, but doing this, anything should help businesses rather than just like putting pressure on the existing businesses already here in Boxborough. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Awesome. I took notes, and if we have more questions, we'll be able to ask them during the warrant article discussion.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for taking it, Mike.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sorry to know who you were at first. Sorry.
No worries. Thank you.
All right.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. Anybody else? I don't think I see any hands. All right. Let's move on to, we did this. All right, we're moving on to personnel board warrant articles. Is there somebody here from the personnel board? I thought I saw.
Alan.
I thought I saw Alan. Hey, Alan, are you unmuted?
I am unmuted now. Hello.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Do you want to just introduce yourself, and then we'll get right into it?
Sure. So I'm Alan McLean. I am the chair of the personnel board, and I am prepared to walk through the proposed warrant articles that the personnel board has prepared, if that would be helpful.
Could you put them up on, are they coming up on the screen? Are you going to share them, Alan, so you can go through them with us? To see if
Yes, I did prepare some slides, so I'll try to
Awesome.
share them here.
Thank you.
Is that shared?
Can you make it a little bigger, Alan? Any chance? Our old people, there you go, perfect, thank you.
Okay.
There we go.
So, yes, I'll just walk through these. I trust you folks will interrupt me if I go on too long or you have any questions, but I'll just walk through the articles to give you a sense of what we're proposing. So we actually have two articles this year, which is a little bit different than usual. But the first article is Article 4. This is the article that the Personnel Board typically presents at town meeting. And there's two parts to the article. One part is consists of amendments to the personnel plan and compensation schedule. And then there's a second part where we talk about, or we propose a cost of living increase to town employees. And the employees that would be affected by that would be the non-union and the non-contract employees, just to clarify. Mm-hmm. And so each of those parts of Article 4 do get a separate vote, traditionally, and I think that's how it'll go this year too. Yeah. So vote 1, again, is really just maintenance of the personnel plan itself, updating it to make sure it's staying current. And we did have a few updates to the personnel plan. So the first one is referenced here, updates to the classification schedule. And there's two parts, there are bullet points here. Retitling the town assessor position to principal assessor, and that's really just due to the change in the structure of to a board of assessors. And so now we don't have a single town assessor any longer, and so we need to update the title. The responsibilities of that position are still going to be largely the same, and we are not proposing to regrade that position, and so the compensation would be the same for that role. Okay. The second change is an update to the stipend schedule. So our town clerk obtained a certification that provides for a stipend that she is supposed to get as a result of that. It's a $1,000 stipend. Yep. And so we're proposing that we update the stipend schedule to reflect that item.
Perfect, because that probably helps the finance committee budget for it that way.
I would think so, right. And then, so the next item here is an update to the holidays provision in the personnel plan. And really what we're proposing here is to add that highlighted language, to add part-time employees to the list of employees who can receive pay on holidays. It's limited to days on which these employees would be scheduled to work. And so if their regular scheduled day happens to be a holiday, they too would get paid for that day, as do regular full-time employees and reduced hour employees.
All right, any questions or comments on that one?
So they will be paid for like their hours, right? Like, I mean, for part-time hours, not
Right.
like for a full day?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, for the hours they would have worked.
Worked, okay.
Right. Yep. Next one is, so this is a change we're proposing to make to this is really regarding the sick leave time for employees. And you may recall from last year, we updated the sick leave provision in the personnel plan, and we changed it so that sick time accrued at the start of the fiscal year. It was all front-loaded. It is all front-loaded now as a result of that change, as opposed to accruing it throughout the year. And so that change we put in place last year, and as part of that change, we identified how many days each category of employee would get for the fiscal year. And so, for instance, you can see here, regular full-time employees get the hourly equivalent of 15 days, reduced hours 12 days, regular part-time 10 days. And so that went into effect, and then we got some feedback and questions about, well, what constitutes a day, in particular for those employees who work 3 hours one day, 6 hours another day. It's just not entirely clear. And so the purpose of this provision is to help clarify that and help folks implement this particular provision. And so the first thing we did is we've added a definition of a day. And so it's the average number of hours an employee would be expected to work over a 5-week cycle. And so you look ahead for 5 weeks, how many days would that employee work, and then find what the average number of hours is during that time period. And that's going to be your day. And then we also are suggesting to add, I've identified this as a formula, but to help managers and staff calculate out how many hours do they get. So for full-time employees, it's pretty easy. They typically work 8 hours a day. Full-time employees get 15 days of sick leave, and so it's 8 times 15, 120 hours. That's going to be pretty standard for all full-time employees. And that same formula we can then use for the reduced hours and part-time employees. And so you multiply the number of hours allotted for that employee category. And so for reduced hours, that was 12, part-time 10, and then you look, what's the average hours they are expected to work over that 5-week period, and that's the number of hours. So that's the formula. And then the next thing what we've added here is examples, or illustrations as to how to actually implement that formula. This was something that was specifically requested to put it in table form. We do have a similar table in the vacation section, and so I think folks found that to be helpful. And so we've used both sort of a narrative form at the top of the slide here. We provided an example, and then illustrative examples in the table form as well.
Okay. So as someone who's never had this kind of life, I've always worked for myself. I don't get sick days.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, say I'm a regular part-time person, and you said some people will work like 4 days one day, and 4 hours one day, 6 hours another. Say I call in sick on the 6-hour day. Do I get 6 hours of sick time, or I get?
No, it's the average.
Or it's the average. So
what we're calculating here is at the front end is how many annual hours you'll get for the full year, right? So as of July 1, you have a schedule, and you know, and that'll tell you how many hours you get is what this calculation will do.
So I understand that, yep.
Yep. So when you take a sick day, you would utilize the number of hours from that day.
That's what I was asking, because I wasn't clear if they were going to get paid for their average numbers, which would be 3.9, or if it would be whatever they were supposed to work that day. But at the end of the day, or at the end of the year, they get 39 hours of sick time, no matter how it's broken out.
That's right, yeah. So they could use 6 hours for a 6-hour day on one day, 3 hours if they happen to work 3 hours on another day. Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm sorry for being obtuse.
Oh, no, that's totally fine. We've attempted to simplify this, but it's hard to simplify without making it at least looking complicated.
Oh, good. Anybody else have, oh, and about this section, any questions about this section? All right, keep going then.
Keep going. All right. And so this was just a commentary, just repeating what I really just said. Is the purpose is to simplify it, clarify.
Yep.
And then, so performance reviews. This is another section that we're
Alan,
proposing
I
to
have,
change.
Alan, sorry, I have one question. I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
like there's more coming with the sick leave. Mike,
Oh.
one of the things that we also brought up, I know at least I brought up, was like, what are the guardrails that we have in place? Say if somebody takes all their sick time, like, I mean, they come in new, they take all their sick time, and they leave within like a few months, right? So the
Right.
town is paying, instead of working a full year. Sam's looking at me like, what am I trying to?
I'm furrowing my brow. but
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
So, like, how does, I mean, are there any guardrails there? Like, I mean, are they allowed to take all their entire year's worth of sick time right off the bat, or is there?
Is that addressed in the new employee paragraph? New employees shall be credited at the start of employment the hourly equivalent of 1 sick day for each month. So I guess what you're asking is, did they get all of it up front, or do they have to accrue it their first year?
No, not.
No?
I mean, even if they don't accrue, right? Like, are we putting something in place to ensure that, like, I mean, they don't end up, because people, if they know that they're going to leave, if they're going to use all their sick time.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
yeah.
we don't end up losing employees, but that's not always it's an ideal situation, right? There's always times where people might end up leaving sooner. So.
Sure. Yeah, and I mean, I think that is a potential risk, to be clear, from the move to front-loading sick time. In terms of guardrails, you can ask for a doctor's note after 3 days, and so you should be engaging with the employee. If someone's engaging in any fraud and use of their sick time, that would not be permitted.
All these
and you
people on
wouldn't
the
be
different years,
required to pay sick
Oh,
time.
hey, Mark, you need to mute yourself. Sorry. Mark White, thank you.
And so I think it's more of a management issue of use of sick time as opposed to a policy question. So long as you're front loading the sick time, which provides flexibility for employees, that's a benefit. There is a corresponding risk to the town. I think we'd have to recognize to some extent that would be abused. And it requires attention by management to try to limit that as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like considering how difficult it has been for the town, like in terms of taxes and everything. I just want like everything to be addressed and looked at more closely.
Sure.
Mike, how do you handle sick time now? Like if people are out for an extended period, at what point do you ask for a verification of whatnot?
Yeah, so at 3 days, we're looking for a doctor's note, and then if it's gonna be an extended, then we're gonna engage in dialogue and see if they're eligible, and eligible for FMLA, Family Medical Leave.
Oh, you coach people in like through that, to that as needed?
Yep.
Okay.
And Mike, you're also taking into consideration, so somebody could be, I'm just, having worked in management, I know people all different ways how they will do it. They'll do it 2 days, 1 week, give a break, and then 2 days, like after a week later, right? Like, so that you don't need to get doctor's note or anything like that. So those are all things that we should be keeping an eye out for.
Right, exactly. I think we need to be, as you just said, I think we need to keep an eye out on it, and I think it's management's daily interaction with the employee. As I learned when I was working full-time, we can't make policies for the few bad apples. I mean, we need to keep an eye out for them, but
I mean, right now with the situation, we are going in front of people and asking for their taxes. Everything, I mean, we can make policies, I understand, but we have to put guardrails.
No,
That's just my take.
Right, I hear what you're saying.
I did reach out to council about this, because one thing that I talked with the personnel board about is if, like, putting a guardrail in as far as with sick leave. So I did put some language in there. I got feedback from council that essentially said if we're front loading sick leave, then that's something that if a person uses it up, we can't go back on our word and say, hey, you owe us this much if you use it up before you leave. Like, it would be some legal recourse behind that if we tried to go about it that direction. If we're saying, hey, you're getting your sick leave in advance, we can't go back and say, you use this amount. So it's we were advised that we shouldn't have that type of language in there, just based on the fact that if we're going to front load, we need to kind of honor that with our employees.
So I think then this must be very clear to everybody in town that they could be paying for something, as long as the town is okay with it and they're gonna vote for it. But we need to make sure that we are transparent and clear to the town about this.
Alan, did the personnel board discuss any of this? Like, because this really only applies to new employees who are in their first year with us, right? Because everybody else will be accruing.
No, I think it could apply to any
Applies to
employee.
everybody?
I mean, because they'll accrue a new, another
Every year.
raft of days on July 1, right? Depending on their status. The Personnel Board has discussed this a number of times, actually, and raised similar concerns as are being raised here. And ultimately, it's I think it's a question of, is the value of the benefit, does that outweigh the potential downside risk? As of now anyway, the Personnel Board determined that the benefit was greater. And it was worthwhile to provide this flexibility to employees. I don't know that change actually went into effect last year, and I don't know, and so that's not what we're necessarily voting on, not that it's not worthy of discussion, but I don't know that we've seen any abuse of it thus far, which is a good indicator, but it certainly could happen.
That's not 100% true. We have seen.
Oh.
It has happened. Right, Mike?
So I have encountered this in the past, not so much here, but in prior organizations. And like Alan was saying, if the town has decided to take this route of front loading. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Had to go put up on a mask because I kind of coughed up my left lung at the beginning of the meeting there, so sorry. But anyway, these things tend to happen in patterns, like Mondays, or the end of the week, or the day before the holiday, or just after the end of a vacation. And as managers, we have to watch for those patterns, and we have to have early conversations with staff. And generally, I find that takes care of it. You let somebody know, I see that you are consistently sick on Mondays. And I want to see, is there an issue? And you have that conversation, and it's pretty rare that it goes on. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's rare when you let somebody know that you recognize that it's being abused, and you'd like them to show up to work or use vacation time.
It's funny. I think a lot of life, you operate on trust, and I feel like, the employees under the personnel plan show themselves to be dedicated to the town. They're working for municipality because they want to, and they've chosen Boxborough. So I think for some degree, Priya, I completely understand where you're going, because we did have this happen during our tenure on this board. But I think personally it's a risk worth taking, because I feel like we have to demonstrate trust. We're so glad you're here, we're glad you're working for us, and we trust that you're going to do the best thing for yourself and the town.
I mean, we also should think, right? Like it also creates, sometimes when people do that, the others are also going to be upset too. So it's not like I'm not in favor of people who are following the rule, right? And following not just the rule, but the intent of what the procedure is, right? They might be upset too, because it's like, here I am, I'm like, when I'm only truly sick, I'm taking my sick time, but there is somebody that is abusing the system, right? So that also creates some sort of, a backlash there too. So I'm not saying, so I don't want this to be taken as that I'm not supportive of the staff. I am saying this because I'm supportive of the staff who are following the true intent of why the sick leave is, right? So I just want that to be clear too. As well as, I'm sure Adam will stand up and say, my school is taking all these steps, every little bit is being addressed. I don't want us not looking at every single bit. So I want to make sure that we are also looking at everything clearly and making sure the town understands it clearly too, so.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, you get to move to the next one.
Next one, okay. So the next one here's the performance reviews. And this one, so I've listed at the top of the slide here 4 categories that employees can be rated when they are reviewed for the performance review. Currently, the personnel plan provides for 5 categories, including the one at the bottom, the outstanding rating. And we've received feedback, the town has, that it's a little confusing, the difference between outstanding and highly effective. And I don't know if folks can read the print there, but the definitions are pretty similar. Highly effective, I'll just read them since they're relatively short. Highly effective consistently exceeds established job standards for quality, quantity, and timeliness of work, often achieves, sorry. I can't actually see it myself. Results beyond those expected for the position. Sorry. And then, anyway, so it's probably hard to follow now, but anyway, outstanding is very similar. Significantly it exceeds established job standards with exceptional quality, quantity, and timeliness of work. Always achieves exceptional results well beyond those expected of the position. So outstanding was elevated slightly better than highly effective, but I think what the problem was is managers and staff were having trouble distinguishing between the two, and I think they were getting caught up in trying to really define where an employee should be placed between those 2 ratings, when in fact what we really want these discussions to be about is recognizing the strong performances when they've occurred and identifying areas of growth and for improvement and development separately, right? And so given the feedback that this is confusing between the 2, what we're suggesting is removing the outstanding rating and leaving it at the remaining 4 to simplify it and really try to focus on what matters for these reviews.
Alan, my only question is, and it's not, and I understand exactly what you did. You cut it from 5 to 4, and I understand the reason why. My question is, cutting it to 4, does that somehow mess up the calculation of a raise?
So I don't believe so. So I mean, so a raise, I believe every employee will receive the step increase, if I'm remembering correctly, so long as they receive a proficient or higher rating.
Okay. Okay.
And so that would still be the case.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't, whether it's a numerator or a denominator, I didn't want to make sure that changing the 5 to 4 would mess that calculation. If it has no bearing, that's fine. That's my only question.
Yeah, I mean, because I think the concern would be those folks that would be in between the outstanding or highly effective, and those people would be above proficient anyway, right?
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right.
Okay.
That's everything, right?
Nope. What else you got, Alan?
Vote 2. And so
wage adjustment, yep.
So we're proposing the 3% across the board wage adjustment for fiscal year 27, effective July 1, 2026. And this again is only impacts non-union and non-contract employees. I've provided some limited information here to help explain how we came up with this number. And so what we look at primarily is the consumer price index. That's in the statistics that are developed by the Department of Labor. We focus on our particular region here. We're part of the Boston, Newton, Cambridge region. And we really try to focus in on the 3-year rolling average for both the calendar year and the fiscal year, so that we can remove some of those spikes to the extent we can from the analysis. And so I've got on this slide here, you can see the 3-year calendar year. At the end of calendar year 2025 was 3.34%. If we look at the fiscal year, it's 4.02%, going back to July 2025. We don't have the next fiscal year yet. So fairly close. And then we also take into consideration the step increase that we were just talking about. And so all employees that do get that proficient rating do receive a 2.5% step increase in addition to the cost of living wage adjustment. And so, as I mentioned in an earlier slide, we're proposing 3%. So really we're talking about a total increase of 5.5. And then we also keep in mind the employer of choice commitment of the town. We do try to Among other things, keep our employees within the 75th percentile amongst comparable communities. And so that's another factor here. And then some other things that came up during conversations, equity amongst or with the union employees. Union employees in town are, I believe, all receiving a 3% raise. And then there was mention that of the Social Security adjustment that went into effect in January of 2.8%. And so these are all factors that we look at.
No, that all makes sense. Any questions for Alan on this one? I do see, well, all right, Bob saw it, I didn't see it. I see a hand raised. Can we unmute them?
Becky, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Kristen. I just have a question. With your new union, how many employees are left on the personnel plan?
Is that a question for me?
For anybody who can answer it.
I don't know, not a lot. That incorporates many of the non-union. There we go.
Okay. So we don't have a fast and easy answer. I'm assuming all of the hourly non-exempt people remain, right?
I don't think that's entirely going to be the case.
Oh, no, that's not true.
We're not expected to be.
Okay. Right.
No, I mean, but is it 5 people? Is it 10 people? Is it 50 people? I mean, do we have any idea how many people we have left on the personnel plan?
Yeah, it's closer to your 10. It's not 50.
Okay.
I don't
All
have
right.
the exact
And I
number.
would just say, I got that 2.8% Social Security adjustment, but I didn't get a step. So I just, and same with the union contracts. I mean, whether it's union or personnel plan, you can talk to the 2.8% for Social Security all you want, but people on Social Security do not get steps also. So that's all. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
So just to answer that question, it's a little bit more because one of the things is one of the schedule that this would affect would be the clarification and compensation schedules for the temporary per diem and intermittent schedule. All of those people would be affected by this 3% as well. And we have a lot of part-time we have a lot of per diem firefighters, firefighter EMTs, and we also have, I believe, the police officers part-time.
Oh, they're all not part of the union?
Reserve, the reserve police officers are not part of the union, so they're all affected by.
Yeah, all the flare
All-
camp people,
all the- yeah,
snowplow drivers.
Exactly.
So-
Also, all of those people would be affected by this, exactly. So it's not, yeah, there's a lot on that schedule versus the other schedule, exactly.
So Becky, what are you saying? Like, they don't get the 2.8% on top of the step in the COLA?
No. What she's saying is that she is, well, you explain, Becky, sorry. She didn't ask me, she asked you.
Go ahead, yep, we got you.
What I'm saying, Priya, is that as a Social Security beneficiary, I got my 2.8%, but I didn't get a step. They don't give steps.
That's because you're
they
maxed
give a
out,
COLA.
Becky.
I'm not maxed out at $600 a month. So, but you don't get the step also. I mean, just like people get to top step here, so then they only get the COLA. They don't get any more, and I get that. But just, I think you have to keep that in mind, especially in this economy. It's really tough. So, but no, Social Security only gets the 2.8%. I guess we're a top step.
Well, that's what I was joking about. Once you get Social Security, that's the top step. All right. Yeah, because what I was saying before was temporary per diem and intermittent, I would expect they would remain on the personnel plan. All right. Okay. Well, we could certainly, somebody's bound to ask that from town meeting floor, Alan, so I would suggest that be something you're ready to pull right out since we're all quickly counting.
And can I make a comment in general?
Of course you can, yeah.
So we are not a town that, I just keep hearing that we don't take care of our employees. We are not really, we are not in the top tier. Those, we are in the 75th percentile. We are giving step COLA. So let's not act as though we don't take care of our employees. I think we do take care of them. So just want to make sure. And it's, our town really pays for that, right? Our taxpayers are paying for that. So I just don't want us to keep saying, people are gonna leave and it's, I just have a hard time with this.
So,
Right.
So, and I hear what you're saying, I mean, I guess my answer is, we're not in the top, and people aren't leaving, as long as we can maintain the 75 percentile. So-
Yeah, so we are. On top of that, we are also doing all these other things. So let's be proud about that and say that we are a top employer with that. But like, and if we have to make any kind of restrictions, right? I put like, or like tighten the belt a little bit. Let's not keep saying, oh my gosh, like we are not even, to begin with, we are not even a top employer of choice. We are not even paying them at a high level. No, we are paying them at a higher level. No, we have to sometimes tighten the belt when every one of our citizens are tightening their belts. We have to tighten our belt too in terms of that. So I think we should stop acting as though like we are not one of the top employers.
Right, and by
in terms of like how much we pay.
And what I'm saying is, I'm kind of agreeing with you, saying, by doing this, we are a top employer. Right.
One thing I want to clarify, it's unrelated to what you were both saying, but the comment came up about per diem firefighters, reserve police officers, snowplow drivers, and we're only talking about the snowplow drivers who are additionally hired, not members of DPW. All of those folks and our summer camp, they don't get steps. So they don't get a performance evaluation and a step. So it's just a COLA for per diem firefighters, for reserve police officers.
Basically, everybody in this chart here.
Yes, exactly.
Temporary per diem and intermittent people get the 3%.
Yeah, so if it sounds like it's 50 or 60 people, it's not. The people who are eligible for STEP and COLA on the non-union personnel plan, that would be more like probably around 7 to 10 people. It's not a huge number.
Yep. Plus the 2.8 Social Security, right?
Oh, no, that was just a point of reference, that people on Social Security got 2.8%.
Okay.
Yeah, that was part of Alan, correct me if I'm wrong, that was part of you explaining how you came to 3%, or how the board came to 3%?
Yes, that's right. It's just a benchmark that we looked at just for additional data point is all.
No, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't provide them that, like we shouldn't give the people, but I just want us to not keep saying that we are not an employer that pays well, right? So we are in par with a lot of good communities, 75th percentile. So it's
one other thing, I don't believe that in recent years we've had any snowplow drivers who don't work for DPW. We have that on there in case we need to hire additional snowplow drivers, but I don't think we've used them recently.
Okay. All right. Okay, Alan, anything else?
Keep going. Yeah, sure. So I just have a little bit more on this. Just a graphical representation of the percentages here. As you can see, I guess historically the last 10 years or so, to the extent that's helpful. You can see a spike that occurred in 22, 23, 24. That's hopefully continuing or starting and will continue to come down. And then historically what we've done in past years for reference, last year we gave a 2.7% COLA, the year before that 3%, so we're proposing a number that's fairly in that same ballpark. And then I always, when I look at the data, I do look at pre the 22 spike, the COLA increases were fairly close to the actual 3-year rolling average, and so the 3% in my view is similar to that, and so just another point of basis, I guess, for that recommendation of 3%.
So, Alan, just clarification on that. So, what the town has done for like the past 2 years, the rolling average was 4.64. And we gave 2.7. Is that correct? Can I compare those two numbers?
Yeah, that's correct. It's a little bit confusing because the time periods don't overlap exactly. But yeah, so last fiscal year was a 2.7% increase, and we used the data up and through the end of 2024.
Even though the 3-year average was 4.64.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, great. Just so I understand that you can compare those two.
Yeah. And then in terms of a dollar amount, the expected amount or cost to the town would be $34,055 from the 3%.
So that's the wage adjustment, that's not pensions or anything like that? That's basically what we're gonna see in the budget?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, just for clarity. All right.
So that's all I have on the wage adjustment, and then we do have another article to conduct a compensation survey. We're seeking $15,000 from the town for a compensation study. And the last survey was done in 2010, and so it is about time to refresh the data that the town uses for salaries. We were just having a good conversation about the fact that the town does pay well, but the data that we have been using, at least from the survey that was done in 2020, is becoming a little bit stale as time passes. A lot has changed since 2020, and so we do feel that it's time to do another survey. And as indicated on the slide here, the primary driver of that is we want to make sure, well, it's not on here actually, but we want to make sure we're paying the right amount, not paying too much. Another thing is we want to be attractive to applicants relative to other comparable towns, and we want to retain existing employees and we can in part do that by ensuring that we are paying close to what the market provides for. And so we have taken steps. Our assistant town administrator, Rajan, reached out to other communities, his colleagues in other communities, and received suggestions as to organizations to work with. And these two organizations listed here, the Collins Center out of UMass and MGT, which is it was formerly GovHR, which folks may be more familiar with. They've somehow transitioned, I'm not sure of the exact corporate change, but now they're called MGT. Those are the two organizations that were identified. We reached out to them, obtained proposals, clarified with them what we really are looking for, because we did receive some proposals that included a lot of extra stuff that we didn't think we really needed at this point, at least, including an entirely new classification schedule, updates of all of our job descriptions and the like. And the focus of what we're really looking for is that compensation survey of comparable towns and comparable positions, so we can identify what is the market compensation for the folks in town. And then a second piece would be assistance in implementing those findings, some guidance, so we can actually use the data and adjust our compensation schedule if needed. Maybe there's no adjustment needed, but if needed, that guidance would be helpful. And the two comparable proposals that we received with those particular objectives, one was from the Collins Center for $10,000, and then MGT provided a proposal for $18,450. They were fairly similar in terms of content. The Collins Center did have a slightly longer timeline of 6 months versus the MGT proposal, which indicated it would be 4 months. But otherwise they looked pretty similar. And upon review and discussion of it by the Personnel Board, we determined that the more cost-effective approach made more sense here. And so we are suggesting to go with the Collins Center proposal. And then we have built in some additional costs for the $15,000 to cover potential escalations or other contingencies that could occur, so that we can really be certain that this will get done. The hope would be that those don't happen, and we'd return any additional funds to free cash at the end of the fiscal year.
Alan, question on this. With AI, is there not a way to do some of these studies?
Yeah,
I'm not
depending on what's
sure.
public
Like, should we be spending 15,000 on this, and then I'll still go with the 10,000, and I don't know if there's way to come back to ask if we go a little bit over for additional amount as opposed to taxing for the whole 15,000.
So there's two questions there. So
Yeah.
the second one is easier. Whatever's in the warrant article is all they can spend. And no, they don't have a way to
No,
come
what
back.
I'm saying is in the warrant article.
No, but if they ask for 10,000 and they run out of money, we don't have a way to backfill it because it's not a budget item. And FinCom can correct me, but I don't believe there would be a way to backfill for contingencies. So that was the first question. No, second question. The first one, was, did you look into other options? You know, is Collins Center using AI? Maybe that's why they're $8,450 less.
You know, the subject of AI, I don't know that we really explored deeply.
Maybe we should.
I can speak to AI.
Okay.
So AI is a tool that Rajan and I use a lot for doing this sort of stuff on a position at a time sort of study. Most places are not great about publicizing their compensation studies or even their pay scales. So what we end up doing, we use AI to some degree, but then we got to go back and verify that these are actual numbers, and we want to make sure that they're for comparable communities. So we do use it, but it's not, I would assume these companies use it to some regard, but I will say that Rajan and I get calls all the time from the Collins Center, from GovHR, or if this is MGT, and from other consultants that do HR consulting and compensation studies, asking what we have. And so you're picking brains, checking websites, calling people, using interns. There's lots of different tools, but I think just using AI will get you some information.
Okay, all right. And so the contingency of 5,000, is that necessary? Can we go down? I don't know. Maybe FinCom will ask those questions.
Yeah, I mean, we did have a discussion of that for what it's worth, and it is a relatively high percentage we recognize from the 10. On the other hand, nominally, we want to be able to address any actual contingency that arises so we can complete this. And so we thought that was a fair estimate that would be certain to cover it. And so maybe we could, but...
That's almost like 50%, Alan.
Yes, no, I do recognize that it's 50%.
Coming out of free cash, so we're not taxing for this. And FinCom did not discuss this.
I would say you probably ought to get to the mic.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Before I get scolded.
FinCom did not discuss the 15 versus a 10 because when we voted this last week, we didn't have those numbers in front of us. It makes sense to budget for a bit of a contingency because we cannot, if it ends up being 12,000, then they're out of luck, right? Until the next town meeting because we have to add to it. But we didn't, so, and it is coming out of free cash, so we're not, I mean, we'd rather not do it if we don't have to, but I understand a contingency. If they want to change it, tomorrow night's our last night. I think we're going to vote the rest and finalize everything tomorrow night. But, so we voted the 15 out of free cash.
Okay.
I think where it's coming out of free cash, so we're not taxing, and then whatever isn't spent gets returned, that makes me a lot more comfortable. Yeah, because it gives you the money, the tools to do the job, and because we don't know what might come down the pike. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we're asking them to look at between 60 to 71 positions, so.
Really?
Yeah. This isn't, so the thing with this compensation study is this is a town-wide one, not just, last time we did it for our non-union positions, but this time we're doing it for all positions in town. So that's the difference between the last time we did it in 2020 and this time.
Okay.
Okay.
So that'll consist of union and non-union positions.
Okay.
That will be great to have. Okay, great. Good tool. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this one? Oh, Becky, I'm sorry. See, Bob's keeping an eye on the hands. Is your hand still up?
Yeah, yes it is.
Hello.
Thanks. And I think Rajan just answered my question, but he said they're doing all positions. Does that include management? Because you just gave two $20,000 increases this year, and I would love to see that they were needed to be done in order to maintain, be comparable to other towns. So is it everything right from the very top all the way down?
Yeah, it's town administrator, police chief, library director, all of the contract positions along with union, all the way to the per diem positions. That's the list of positions when they ask.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, thank you.
And I'm assuming once we have it all done, the report will be available. It's public, right? Or
yeah.
no? Actually, you just said a lot of towns don't post it. So help us out with that one.
So it is public information, but sometimes you got to dig really hard for it. So our 2020 compensation study from GovHR is accessible on our website, and some towns do put it out there. A lot do not.
Okay. Is our intent to put it out there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Most of our, I would say we do a pretty good job of posting a lot of documents that wouldn't be transparent, like union contracts, department head contracts and stuff like that, that you probably have to reach out to an HR director. So this wouldn't be any different to make this a public document once it's finished.
Okay.
I hope once this is funded, that lower number, that they'll hold to it. Because when John came back and told me that number for the number of positions that the personnel board was looking to do, I was shocked, quite honestly, because I've seen quite a few of those, and that's a very, very good number. So I'd be nervous if we were only asking for that amount.
Okay.
And hopefully they do hold that.
It's UMass, and they're drawing on.
That's right, that's the difference between the UMass and the MGT. That's why you see the one's a not-for-profit, one is a for-profit. That's why you're seeing it.
I'm okay as long as it's coming from free cash, and we're not doing taxing.
Sounds good. Okay.
Alan?
Yes.
Anything else?
That is all I have. So unless you have any other questions, thanks very much.
Well, why don't you let us vote it? And
thank you, Ellen.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, then you'll be able to bring it all back. Okay. I'm just going to move to approve Article 4, amending the FY 2027 personnel plan, including the classification and compensation schedule, vote 1. Because remember, we have to do this in 2 parts. So I move to recommend, yes. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion, questions, or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Stemple abstain.
All right, so that's going to be 401. Bob, do you want to tell people why you're abstaining, just for clarity?
Yeah, for clarity. For the reason I'm abstaining is because I'm actually would be affected by the intermittent schedule as a part-time MART driver.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I move to recommend Article 4, vote 2.
Second.
Any further discussion, questions, or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Stemple abstains.
So 401. That's it, right? Just the 2?
Yep, that's it.
All right, thank you. Have a great night, Alan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, 5B, school committee report and discussion. All right, first of all, I'm just going to tell you the last several meetings I've not been able to attend, but I've been watching, and I was watching your meeting from Orlando, Florida last week.
We are must-see TV these days.
I have to tell you, the rest of my family was asking why. Why, Nana, why?
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to work backwards to our last agenda just to give you an update on everything we've done. We did vote our final budget for next year. The assessment to Boxborough comes in at $17,734,103. Nothing has changed since our preliminary budget vote there. We also authorized the superintendent to begin negotiations with the town manager for the town of Acton. Town of Acton's town hall is getting renovated, pending funding at their town meeting, and they need a swing space to put all of their town hall employees. And we happen to have next year an empty school building that would be perfect for them to use. So we're in negotiations with them on that to put a memorandum of understanding. The benefit for us is that the town will take on all responsibility for all of the utilities and all the maintenance cleaning of that of the Conan building while they're in there for roughly a year's time. So that was good news. Lots of people have been asking what's going to happen with the Conan building, and our answer primarily has been we need to get through AB Forward before we figure that out. This is a great way to buy us another year and make sure that the building is still in use and maintained.
Adam, will there be any, like, will they be paying towards the schools, like a rental?
So they're paying for the utilities and they're paying for the maintenance, and we have to get some clarity on whether or not they'll have insurance to cover it as well. But that's a pretty significant savings for us, considering the heating. And we would have to keep the building, heated at a certain temperature, and we would have to have someone in there maintaining the site. So there's a significant savings.
Wouldn't, like, if they were to go and rent, it still would be.
This was what the committee authorized the superintendent to do.
I just want to go in the record that I asked you that question, because I'm
You
sure
would-
it's in a lot of people's minds.
You would not be the only one who asked the question, myself included.
All right.
But at this point, we'll take whatever we can get on such a short term. The next thing I wanted to let you know is that we have authorized the superintendent to sign a number of power purchase agreements for the installation of solar projects on a number of the buildings. So we're going to put solar on the roof of the administration building. We're going to put solar on the roof of the Boardwalk campus. We're going to put a solar canopy in the senior parking lot at the high school. And we're going to put a solar canopy on the parking lot at the junior high school. The assumption here is that with this energy savings, we should cut about 1/3 of our electricity bill down for those buildings.
Why not solar in Blanchard so that they can?
You know, I'm not sure. My guess would be that our cost for electricity from Littleton Electric is
Different.
so
Yeah.
low
Oh,
that it's not
doesn't
financially
make
worth
sense.
it.
Okay.
And they're not,
Whereas
and they're not eligible for the smart.
Right, you
Yeah,
get probably.
there are a number of
Got it.
incentives that they're getting through
Okay.
state and through the electric company.
That actually hits my question. So, tell me about the cost for installation. Like, how is that
We don't
covered?
bear any of that. So this is a power purchase agreement. We don't lease, we don't own the equipment. A third party comes in, installs the equipment, owns it, maintains it, and we end up purchasing the electricity that's generated
Gotcha.
from those solar systems from
Thank
them at a rate that is roughly half of what we pay Eversource for.
Eversource.
Yeah.
Adam, my question was, for Boardwalk, wasn't that part of the building requirement?
Yeah, so
What happened there?
I'm so glad you asked, Bob. Boardwalk was originally intended to be a net zero building.
Thank you.
But to achieve net zero status, they needed to put in roughly 1.5 megawatts of solar production. Now, the state says anytime you generate more than 1 megawatt of solar production on site, you need to install a battery storage system. The battery storage system requires approval to be installed, and the Acton Board of Health did not approve the installation of the battery storage system.
My understanding, the neighbors pushed back hard.
The
on
neighbors
that.
pushed back hard. There were a lot
They're
of concerns.
worried about.
They're worried about what
everything.
everybody worries about when you want to put in a battery storage system.
Yeah.
The Board of Health has purview over that because there is a substance that's in the battery storage systems to help them cool, and so you have to get a permit for the glycol mix that helps cool the battery systems. Since we did not get approval for the battery storage system, we could not put in the entire solar array that would cover the energy usage of the building. We are able to put in everything that goes on the rooftop of the Boardwalk campus, which is relatively cheap to install, covers about, again, 1/3 of the consumption. If at some point in the future the state eases the permitting or puts in some permitting by right for battery storage, we could come back and add the canopies over the parking lot, which would complete the consumption. And I would be remiss if I did not tell you that our energy manager, every time we talk about this, says the way this building was designed, the efficiency of the facility and the envelope, it is outperforming what the estimations were in terms of how much it would cost to run it. So we're in a pretty good place.
No, I was just wondering, because I would have thought that solar would have been part of the requirement for a brand-new building. And
It was.
And you answered the question, thank you.
Yes. And then that takes us to where we started our meeting and sort of the most interesting topic, which was the discussion of some of the final geographic scenarios for reorganization. We will be taking, we believe to be our final vote on the geography at our next meeting on April 9th. We saw presentations of what has now been identified as Scenario 7 for geographic distribution. There are two parts of Acton, some part that's sort of south of Arlington Street in the West Acton area, and then north of Route 2 in Acton as well, that are being associated with the Blanchard zone. They are sort of contiguous with the border with Acton, and doing that, we're able to balance. We had a really good discussion about this. Not only the utilization of the school as a whole, but also when you operationalize that, the balance of all the class sizes. And I will point out, just so that everybody hears this, through AB Forward and through the reorganization, our class sizes are going up. We don't have enough money to have smaller class sizes. So part of this, closing down Conant and reducing classroom teachers means that our class sizes are going up. Some of them are above our recommendations, the school committee's policy for recommendations of class sizes. But as we finalize the geographic zones, we will then look again and make sure that not just the entire school is utilized appropriately and balanced, but also that class sizes across the schools are balanced equally. So we discussed those geographic zones. We discussed a lot of the sort of minutia around these concepts of flex zones. So you can identify an area as a flex zone so that maybe that part of Acton that is currently associated with Blanchard, should there be either space in Acton schools or too much, not enough space in Blanchard, those flex zones are already identified as a location where should you meet a certain criteria, the district would come in and say, the incoming kindergartners this year, we need to take 5 of them and we're going to put them to the secondary school that they're assigned to. We don't believe that we're going to need to use this often, mostly because our enrollment trends are continuing to go down, so we're not going to be running out of space in any of the schools anytime soon. But that's the other thing that we're working towards and trying to clarify. I would say there were 2 other big topics of discussion for us. One was the grandfathering of the students who live in Acton today who have chosen to go to Blanchard, who may not be in those current geographies that are assigned to go to Blanchard. And then the other was the topic of grandfathering all the 5th graders to be able to stay together in their schools. Lots of discussion around this amongst the committee. Basically where we landed was we were given a choice, and the choice was you could provide both the grandfathering for the 5th graders and the Acton students in Blanchard, but you probably would not be able to provide bus transportation for any student who lives within a 1-mile safe walking distance of the schools. And we're not required to provide bus transportation for that zone. The alternative was you could allow the Acton students who go to Blanchard to stay there, but not grandfather the 5th graders and still be able to provide bus transportation for all students. None of these decisions have been made, but sort of the direction that the committee was leaning towards was to primarily allow the Acton students to continue at Blanchard. There will be no grandfathering of their siblings, so if you have a 5th grader at Blanchard and you've got a kindergartner or a future kindergartner, they won't be able to go to Blanchard. It's just for this current class. We opted towards that and to provide bus transportation because we felt that we typically already have to provide bus transportation for kindergartners, and with the inclement weather that we have around here, we felt it would be more equitable to be able to guarantee bus transportation for all students regardless of their distance from the schools. If, as they continue to model this out and look at the bus transportation information, if they're then able to allow the 5th graders to stay in their buildings, we will try to add that. Of note, the Conant students who are rising 6th graders cannot stay in their school because their school doesn't exist anymore, so there's a little bit of a piece there. So that and the continued look at flex zones are what we're waiting to see from our next round of input. I will say that every time we've identified a community that might be affected by some of this, we get loads and loads of emails from that community. So you always mobilize the people who feel like they're being affected, and then once, like I said, we're on scenario 7, so it's been 7 different groups of people who have felt identified through this. But I think that we're getting into a really good spot. What's really important is that the committee vote before April vacation, and then the district is planning on placing all the students for next year during April vacation, and then managing where teachers will get placed for next year as well, so that by, I believe, early May, we'll be able to tell all the students what school they'll be going to. We'll know what teachers are going to be placed in what schools by then as well, so that we'll have time to work that transition as we get through the end of this year.
Okay. So I did watch your meeting on Thursday where you went through all these scenarios and you just explained it all again. But for my own brain, because there's a lot of moving pieces, right now the main considerations that are on the table, so to speak, well, no, there's lots of stuff on the table. Let me get to the point. So it looks like you're going to try to keep the Acton kids that were in Blanchard.
Yes.
And you're going to try to let rising 6th graders stay in the school, or is that lower on the totem pole?
It's lower. So it's in the 3 options of Acton kids at Blanchard,
yep,
transportation for everybody,
yep,
and rising fifth graders staying with their schools. The rising sixth graders is the third thing on that list.
Okay. I'm just going to ask the question. I've already seen a little bit of backlash. Again, I'm not on social media because if you want to hurt my feelings, you got to do it to my face. But people have sent me screenshots, and it looks like Boxborough is getting a little bit of backlash. Oh, it looks like Boxborough put one over on Acton again. You know, are you going to get backlash for letting Acton children stay at Blanchard?
You know, it's an interesting point. I don't think so, primarily because for every student from Acton that is currently at Blanchard that chooses to stay, which is most of them, it's another student in Acton who might be in the zone that would have been identified to come to Blanchard who may not want to, who gets to stay.
Okay, so there's enough give and take that it's a win-win.
Now, what I will point out is a lot of the feedback that we got from those communities in Acton that did not want to come to Boxborough was that they came to us and said, I moved to Acton, I pay Acton taxes, my kids go to school in Acton. I don't want them going to another town to go to school. And I would just like to point out again that every student who lives in Boxborough goes to school in another town at some point in their educational career.
Yeah.
And we're none the worse for it. So it's something that I think, you know, everyone feels that they're getting the short end of the stick. We're all going to get a little bit, we're all going to have to feel a little bit of pain next year as we transition to this. But again, the reason we're doing this, not just for the financial reason, is to make sure that we're still able to provide the resources to those kids, to all the kids, and especially those who need it most. And so the outcomes should prove to be worth the work we're doing now.
Okay. All right, sounds good. And then only because you're in front of the Boxborough Select Board, I've had questions from people. They want to know if the Blanchard administrative staff and teachers are also in the mix to be moved or not. Or if since we're kind of staying somewhat intact, will that staff stay intact? And you might not have an answer. I'm just saying people are asking me, and I'm saying, I don't know.
So the administrations have already been announced. So
Okay.
the principals and assistant principals are basically all staying in the same buildings.
Okay.
So that's already been announced. Teacher placement has not been announced.
Okay.
And I would expect that there's going to be some movement across all of the schools. Partially because we will have some folks from Conant who will need to move into the other buildings. As a reminder, the way the union contract works, if you've got seniority and your position's been eliminated, you get to bump someone with less seniority. So if we've got senior educators at Conant and we've got a junior educator at Blanchard, that junior educator would be eliminated and the senior educator would remain their position. So we do have Conant educators who will need to be placed in the schools. And you know, one of the overarching goals from the school committee as we voted the reorganization, particularly to disband all of the schools, was to be able to start and revision all of these schools from a base point next year. And that would include Blanchard. So, you know, Blanchard gets to keep their name, but personally my hope is that the community, the educators and the administration rally around the opportunity next year to put together a strategy and a vision that is a new Blanchard.
Okay, thank you. Something else went through my head, but it's gone. So does anybody else have any questions? No, okay. I would say the only other thing that I would ask is, again, because of the Boxborough bashing, you know, the screenshots I'm getting sent, is if there is a way, some way for the school committee to address this, that Boxborough is not out to get Acton. We're part of this family, right? And we have been for a really long time. So it's a little upsetting to see us go back to 2015. You know, and that same kind of sentiment floating around out there. So I would ask that you address it in some way, because I don't have a way to address it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've tried to in the past. I'm happy to talk with you offline about how you think we could do that.
Okay.
It's difficult to find the opportunity to do that, I would say, at the school committee meeting.
Yeah. You stir the pot if you do that. I get it.
Yeah.
But it still makes my back go up.
I'm not a fan of poking the bear. And
all right.
The only sort of comment I would make to that is early on in the process, there was an opportunity where Blanchard would become a pre-K, early elementary school, and there was a great deal of pushback from the town of Boxborough with very similar rhetoric to what we're hearing from the community in Acton. So again, I recognize that whenever you feel like you're a targeted community, you're going to stand up, and I feel for those folks in Acton who moved in even just as early as last year, thinking that they could choose the elementary school that they go to, and now they're being told that they need to go to a school that's not even in their own town. So I feel for them. I think we're all in a really tough spot right now. I will tell you, we're very much fatigued. You know, we took a very difficult vote on January 22nd to close all of the schools, and we thought we were done. And now we're still doing it. And, you know, we'll take a difficult vote on April 9th, and we still won't be done. And just as a reminder, very shortly after we do that, before the school year's out, we'll be looking to start the process to hire a new superintendent. So, you know, if anybody wants to sit on school committee, there's not a lack of work to get done the next year and a half.
I do want you to know, when I lie awake at night staring at the ceiling, worried about, you know, our role, I do make myself feel better by saying, at least I'm not on school committee.
At least you're not on school committee.
Because I don't know how they sleep.
Yep.
So thank you. I just want you to know I appreciate everything the board's doing.
My pleasure.
So, Adam, totally unrelated, the superintendent's going to do, the superintendent do the American University in Dubai?
The American Community School in Abu Dhabi. So it's a private, I think it's a K through 12 school, private school, attached to the U.S. Embassy in Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
I actually asked him if he was going to have to learn a new language. He said, no, they speak English. And then I felt very silly. It's like, what do they speak over there?
So related to that, when are you going to start the search? I mean, I know he's given a long notice. But
Yeah, so he's with us all of next year.
Yeah.
Our plan, we'll have a couple conversations about this in May. Our plan is to probably send out a request for proposals to superintendent search agencies and be able to bring one of them on board before the end of June.
Okay.
And start to do some work and then begin to post so what I will say is the superintendent community, I'm sure similar to town administrator community, is a fairly small one in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So they already know that the position is up. We'll look to post, I will say probably in October of next year. And the way the schedule typically works is that you interview candidates, and by, you know, December, January, you know, we would probably hope to have someone on board to start on July 1st of 27.
July 1st of 27. And when is Peter leaving?
He's leaving June 30th of 27.
So there would be no cross-training?
At this point, I don't know. We have not even discussed it as a committee.
Okay.
Peter's notice is for June 30th of 27.
Right. You know, I was just thinking, were you hoping to get cross-training? And it appears you, no.
I have no idea.
No.
I mean, we would have to pay for that.
Okay. Next question.
Maybe I can answer that. I think generally somebody in that sort of a position is going to do their homework on the position and step in ready to be supported by the staff that they're there to lead. And I would think that would be the expectation. That was my expectation coming here. I was surprised that there was a cushion built in, and it didn't help me. Honestly.
That might have been the nature of the
I
question.
mean, and what I will say is we've got an amazing senior leadership team between, you know, Andrew Shen is the deputy superintendent, the assistant superintendent teaching and learning, and all of the principals. You know, we've got a great team that will make sure that that transition is a successful one.
I thought of my other question. The Boxborough kids that are going to Acton, do they have to come back to Blanchard, or they'll be able to stay?
No, they have to come back to Blanchard.
Okay.
There's just not enough students in Boxborough to fill our own school.
Okay.
And so we have to fill our own school with our students first.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I knew I had something else. Anything else for Adam? Thanks for coming in
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you.
And thanks for your service. Next up, reconsideration of additional town hall hours on Friday. So where we left this the last time was we had asked Mike to go back and just ask town council, tell us what the process is. And in the meantime, I also just did a little bit more research about precedent and what we have done in the past. Bob knows better than I. Maria has some institutional knowledge also. But essentially, in the past, the town administrator has made these decisions. We've been closed on Fridays, half open on Fridays, closed on Fridays, half open on Fridays. So we've done this a couple of times. And I do want to take this opportunity to apologize for how it was rolled out. When Priya and I met with Mike, we truly did believe that the sentiment of the select board was that we should be offering more hours. We had talked about evenings versus days. And when Priya and I met with Mike, we had that same conversation. You know, we really feel like we need to offer more service to our community. 30% of our population is a senior. They do not do everything online. How do we help people get into town hall? You know, so our motivation was genuine. It was, how do we provide additional services to our town without it costing the town more money? And we should have slowed our roll. We should have talked with the board more. I completely understand that. And we probably should have been more thoughtful about how it was rolled out. You know, we basically said to Mike, okay, you figure it out. You know, again, our intention was that if somebody worked a Friday, they could work from home another day, you know, meaning worked here. If somebody had to come in on a Friday, pick another day to stay home or whatever. And again, no harm was meant. We were just trying to get it done. And Priya, you can jump in because you were at that meeting also. But this is my opportunity to apologize on my behalf anyway for maybe rushing the process.
No, I completely agree. I mean, the intention was to make sure that like services were accessible for a lot of the elderly. Not that like exactly what they're looking for, but at least there's a live person to talk to and figure things out. And for some people, it might be like, yeah, why couldn't they come another day and talk to them? But there might be some people where they might need somebody to bring them to the town hall, right? Like I always think about, I work with the elderly a lot. I always think about how many of them do need help to even like be brought up. And it might be one person, but that one person does require our services. So that was the whole intention, to have somebody available and to at least be able to answer live. And obviously it could have been rolled out better, but the intention was not to like
hurt anybody.
Yeah.
No, the intention was absolutely not to hurt. We appreciate all the letters, the people that have talked to us, and I want you to know that people have talked to me on both sides, saying, I think it's great that we're open on Fridays. I think we should have more town hall hours. And then we've also heard loud and clear from employees who thought it wasn't fair. So, and some supporters who also thought unfair. I mean, Wes was one of those who felt that it was a negative thing. And I actually had a conversation with another millennial, and it really kind of hit me that I'm Gen X, but I'm on the older side, and we do think differently, and we work differently, and we process differently. So I was talking to another millennial who said, well, having to go into the office on a Friday is equal to a pay cut. And that's kind of, I think, Wes, what you were kind of saying, is it was this negative thing, and I didn't get it. I truly didn't understand it, and that's, I think, when that generational difference really kind of slapped me in the head. Like, okay. So at any rate, I just wanted to get that out on the table immediately. Mike, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Yeah, I did. Once the decision was made to open in January, the intention was actually the first week of January, but the way the new year fell, we did it the following week. Knowing I was going to do it for a while, I sat on that intentionally, because I thought it was going to be a morale killer, and I figured, I'd rather bring that later rather than 2 months before. And that was a mistake, me sitting on that, because what it was a shock to people to hear on Tuesday that we were going to be open on that Friday. So I didn't announce that well. I didn't roll it out well. Hindsight being 2020, I would do things differently. I would do a lot of things differently in that regard. But yeah, I guess that goes along with what you're saying about communications. I could have communicated sooner and better on that one, and it probably would have gone better. I don't know that it would have gone well, but I certainly could have helped with the communication and helped it go better.
Thank you for that. So this is how I'd like to do it. So this is how I'd like to lay this out. Mike did reach out to town council and got their opinion on how we should be doing things. So I'll have him fill us in on that. And then we'll have some discussion with the board, then I'll open it up to the public, and we'll go from there. So why don't you fill us in on what town council said first?
Sure. So the two questions that I was asked by the board when this was discussed last time were find out from council, is this a board decision or is it a management decision? That was one question. And the second one was, now that a new union is forming, involving many of these employees that would be impacted, can this change be done now, or do we have to stay the course? So the answer to the first question is, it's a management decision. And, when I spoke to town council, he said he was involved in the writing of the town administrator job description before I arrived here, and that was clearly what the town wanted. So it was written in there that those sort of operational and hours and conditions sort of decisions were under the purview of administration. That being said, any change that I was going to make like that, I would need to advise the board and let them know what's going on. So that's the answer to the first question. The second one is two-part. One, the fact that a new union is forming does not prevent a change one way or the other from doing this. So that's the first part. The second part is the new union isn't formed. It isn't even recognized yet. So, which may come as a surprise to some, because the board voted to voluntarily recognize AFSCME Council 93 to represent this group of employees. I signed and sent notification to all the affected employees, and then posted that some 5 weeks ago in all of the buildings where those employees work. But that to be recognized, the town and the union have to petition to the state to be recognized. And there is some paperwork with the union that has not yet been clarified or ratified. I guess it has nothing to do with Boxborough. It's something they need to do on their end with the state before we can send that into the state to have the union recognized. So I think we're probably at least some number of weeks away from starting negotiations with the union. But even if we had started union negotiations, council informed me that that would not prevent us from either changing to or from the hours change. So those are the two basic answers.
Which makes sense, and that's why the board asked Mike to ask these questions of town council. At the last meeting, when I said we were just gonna hold until we had answers to this, it was out of an abundance of caution. It wasn't to stall, it wasn't to hurt, punish in any other way. It was to make sure that the select board was doing the right thing for the town. So now that we have clarity on all of that, my suggestion is, because it's actually in Mike's job description, that the select board take this opportunity to offer any opinions, any guidance, any thoughts. It's still ultimately his decision. We can open it up to the public in case anybody in the public, same thing, has thoughts, opinions, ideas. Mike can take all of that, and then ultimately it's his decision how he rolls it out. So I'm gonna just start at the end of the table, because I like to do that.
I'm good.
You're good?
I think I've said
So
what my feelings are and like what I believe in.
Sure.
So.
Well, I didn't know if you wanted to give Mike guidance on how you feel about
I've given Mike plenty of
additional
guidance,
hours.
but
That's what I'm asking you, is how do you feel about additional hours?
I guess I look forward to hearing more about ideas to make this work. I'd love something to respond to, but I agree that it was sort of rolled out hastily and without clarity about who the decision maker was, which is never a good way to make a decision. So, but as I said, I've given feedback here in public. I've had conversations with Mike about it. I look forward to hearing more about how you feel next steps would look.
Sure. And I can say that now or after the board speaks, whatever you like.
Why don't you get all of our questions?
Sure.
And we'll open up to the public, and then you can, is that, unless there's something you want to respond to immediately?
No, that sounds good.
Okay. You feel like you said everything you need to say?
I mean, my feeling is like we need to, yes, our employees are important, but our folks in town are also important. And I always think about the minority, right? They need to also have a voice. That like the majority of the people, yes, they can go online and get stuff from online. What about those few people? I mean, just because they cannot come out and voice, we shouldn't ignore them. Our town is an inclusive, equitable town, and we need to stay true to that. And for that reason was one of my strong belief was like we need to make sure that like we are accessible. So that's
Thank you. Wes, do you have any comments?
No.
Okay.
Sure.
I mean, I've said it before, I don't think we need to be open on Fridays. If the goal is to be more accessible, I think there's other ways to do that. But again, this is a management decision. It's not necessarily the board's decision. Can I view it as somewhat of micromanaging?
I guess because we got to this point, Wes, I don't disagree with you, okay? But because we got to this point, you know, we're not going to, my intention, and I will be asking you guys, my intention is that we will not be taking a vote. It's not our decision. But because we're here now, it seemed only fair to the people watching, the people participating in all of this, that they understand each of our positions. That's all. That's why we're doing this. We're not micromanaging. We're offering feedback to Mike without having to stop by his office and do it individually. We're doing it in public.
In the West, the reason I asked it was because my recommendation is kind of everyone's, is like, I'd like to have more hours accessible for the town employees. I think we need to allow town employees, town residents to get more direct face-to-face with the town hall employees. I agree with you that I don't think opening up Friday mornings is the right answer. My own personal recommendation is that we open up one night a week, pick a night, and do an extra 4 hours one night a week. Yes, there's certain people who don't drive at night, and there's some people who don't like to drive at night, but at the same time, I think there's people who could use that service. And so if an employee is here from, and I'm not gonna get into individual employees, but if an employee is here from 8 to 4, we ask again, Mike's decision, and I agree with you 100%, I don't want to micromanage. So my only point is, if an employee is here from 8 to 4, we ask that employee to work from 4 to 8, so additional 4 hours on some night during the week. And my only choice, if someone asked me what night, it would be Thursday night, but that's Mike's choice. But my own personal is, don't do Friday mornings, do a night for an additional for the time period 4 to 8 hours, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m.
And actually, I'm going to echo Bob, and I'm pretty sure this is what I said back in September, is that I thought afternoon, evening hours. Remember, we even talked about safety and making sure that people weren't here by themselves. Could we do it on nights? So we also talked about this with the election workers. But it seems to me that if people can get here during the day, Monday through Thursday suffices. And I do think evening hours, and it might even be for those seniors that the daughter or the son or the niece or the whomever is available after 5 to drive into town hall versus, you know, so again, if I had my druthers, it would be evening hours, but that's all. But now you've heard all of us. Some think we need more, something. Now I wouldn't say that would be overtime or extra hours. It would be somebody coming in later to work a little later, you know, so that, right. So it shouldn't cost the town more. We'd just be shuffling. So, and that would be up to you. All right, I'd like to open it up to the public, only because I know there's been lots of chatting out there. Hi, Finn.
Hi.
We're going to bounce between real life and Zoom.
Okay. So first of all, I just wanted to thank you guys for your candor about feeling like you made some missteps and being accountable for that. So that's very refreshing to see in our day and age, so thank you.
All we can do is better.
I haven't really been tuned into this problem. I did see the noise about maybe opening up on Friday, and my initial response was, oh, that'd be great. Because a lot of times, maybe I need to do something at town hall. Maybe I need to meet with Wendy or something, but I keep forgetting to do it until like the end of the week, and then it's Thursday, and then I'm like, oh, we're not even open on Friday. And now it's the weekend, and it's 3-day weekend, and by the time that's over, I've forgotten the whole thing all over again, and it starts anew. So Friday would be great. But I actually really like the suggestion of doing evening hours at least one day a week. That might be something that benefits more people if you had to choose between Fridays or evening hours. I think evening hours would probably benefit more people. There's a lot of people with professional jobs, 9 to 5. I know when I was working a 9 to 5, it was hard to do any of the like basic things like going to the RMV and stuff and like squeeze that in somewhere when I'm working 9 to 5, and then all of the like municipal stuff is also 9 to 5 or even less than that. So having some evening hours where people can plan to come after their work shift and come address like their municipal needs or community needs or something. I think that would be probably more beneficial than even having Friday open. I actually really like that idea.
Thank you. All right, bouncing over to Zoom. Mark White, you've got your hand up.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Well, I guess my first comment is, because this is a new subject to me other than hearing it peripherally. But I happened to tune in tonight, and that's what you're talking about. So first I would say that I didn't understand why you were apologizing. I don't think you need to apologize for trying to try something to increase access to town hall. I mean, I'd remind everybody that for as long as I can remember, we were open 5 days a week. And the only change that happened was COVID, that then changed everything. And it almost seems like, well, we're just going to go back to normal, which is 5 days a week. So it's not like you've proposed some revolutionary change to town hall that suddenly is a problem for people. And I didn't understand when you're apologizing. I'm asking myself, well, what's she apologizing for? Who's angry? Are the townspeople angry, or who's angry about it? Now I understand. I think that the employees were angry, and it sounds to me like there was something that happened, and Mike kind of basically spoke to it, which is you rolled it out on short notice. So, okay, if you rolled it out on short notice, then people probably have some right to say, well, geez, I wish you told me sooner. But that doesn't mean it wasn't a good idea. That doesn't mean it was a good idea. I mean, things have changed, and so maybe a 4-day week is more appealing or works better for people, more productive that way. So I understand what you were trying to do, and there's no need to apologize for that. I think it's to say, well, we need to recalibrate, and maybe it didn't work as well as we thought it would. I don't mind having it open on Friday because, just like the previous speaker said, sometimes I put it off all week long, and then on Friday I'm like, oh, I got to get that done. And then, oh, it's not open. And I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me. So I don't mind having it open on Friday. I don't mind having internet access to it either, but there's a lot of things you just cannot do with the internet. You need to go down there physically to do it. So I'm in favor of having it open 5 days a week. That's how it's been. And so you guys will work it out. I mean, obviously it's whatever the majority of people in the town feel a need for, and if an evening would work just as well, then fine. I'm going to guess if I was an employee, I wouldn't want to be working the evenings. I'd rather be working my 5-day week. And it's not like they're not there, because they are there. It's just the door was closed on Friday. So I guess my major point is no need to apologize. There's no apology necessary here. You're just trying to do your job. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. I guess I will answer that. It has gotten back to me loudly and clearly in many different ways that people were very offended by how it was rolled out. And so that's really what I'm apologizing for. And that's why I said it was done with the intent of serving the town. It wasn't designed to hurt, impede, violate contracts or anything else. So that's what I was apologizing for, Mark. So, all right, back to real life people.
Real life people.
Well, I don't know, Zoom
versus the people
all right,
online.
all right, not a holograph. I don't know.
I'm Maria Nealand, and I'm speaking for myself, not on behalf of any boards. So I don't want to repeat everything that was said, but I do think it's important to have a little bit of history. Right before COVID, we were open both Fridays from 8 to 12 and in the evenings. The town clerk, who can make her own hours because she's an elected official, the previous town clerk was open on Monday nights. And then it was either Tuesday or Thursdays, or at one point it was Tuesday and they switched to Thursday. The planning board, the treasurer, and the assessor actually rotated and were here until 8 o'clock at night on those nights. But on those nights that, let's say, the planning, the planner, the town planner was here, they came in later that day. So they had flex hours on those days. So we were able to do both. And I have to say, I was here for meetings, and there were a lot of people. Once you tell people there are evening meetings, they do come, or evening hours, they do come to town hall, because I know some people get to work from home, but that's not the reality for a lot of people. A lot of people, you know, we own our own business. My husband, making it here is difficult, 8 to 4, Monday through Thursday. Evenings would be better. But there's a lot of people in our town. Not everybody has remote, you know, an ability to work remote and can hop down to town hall on their lunch hour. We are also 30% of our population, as you said, is over 60. And there's a number of those people who, two things, may not be able to navigate the computers. And in some cases, it may be part of their human touch. Right? I mean, that's something to think about. People coming down here and even just dropping off a check to the treasurer's office may be what they get to do for that day, which, and that's really important, especially in today's world, not just seniors. It's important across the board. I don't know that we value that as much as we should for our citizens and for our taxpayers.
I do want to give the town hall employees a shout out, because I have had multiple people that, in my world, that have said, the town hall employees in Boxborough are so nice.
Yeah.
So I do want to give them the shout out for that.
And they know
I
everybody.
get that consistent feedback.
They talk to everybody, and if you're
Yeah,
down
they're
there,
pleasant.
people.
They talked to me. Yeah.
People come in and out. I mean, and it is really sometimes for the smallest things, and they talk to people if you're down at town hall. So I would, you know, if there were a way to give more access to town hall, if there were a way to do Friday hours, but still be able to provide a remote day. You know, the day doesn't, I keep hearing that, well, why, you know, we're not going to be employer of choice. Well, I don't understand that. The remote day doesn't have to be on Friday. If once every 5 weeks it's on a Wednesday instead, or a Monday. And evening hours. I think evening hours are important if you can try to do that, because there are people who, you know, do work, especially blue collar jobs, that cannot just take an hour in the afternoon from their work to come down to town hall to get stuff done between 8 and 4. So just something to think about.
All right, back to Zoom. I see a hand up. Kristen O'Neill.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
I want to say first, I really appreciate a system that's willing to reassess and listen to feedback. So thank you all for taking that opportunity here. And I'm not going to proffer my opinion on this, but one thing that I'm not hearing is a discussion on need. And it sounds like we have to balance a lot as a town. And I wonder and look forward to a thoughtful process going forward to collect sort of from a wider range of townsfolk what is more helpful for them. Is it evenings? I could tell you what's helpful for me, but that's not going to be helpful for everybody. So understanding that this is now in Mike's court, and I'm sure he's going to take a thoughtful approach to this, I just wanted to voice that I think that was an element that had been missing in previous conversations, was more detail on the need of the residents and how we respond to that need. So thanks so much.
You're welcome. You know, it's funny. You know, Priya and I have had lots of conversations about this, of course. And one of the things Priya actually thought of is, well, what if we did a sense of the meeting at town meeting, you know, and truly get the opinion of everybody sitting in the audience. And we've gone back and forth with it. I wasn't sure if we were going to ask to add it to the warrant at this point. But we did talk about that, Kristen. How do we get more input on what would be useful to people? So if you have ideas, please let us know.
Well, let Mike know. I would say let Mike go.
There you go. If you have ideas, let Mike know.
Because,
That's right.
Because I don't really want to micromanage Mike. I want Mike,
Right.
Mike to get the answers and make his decisions based upon the feedback that he gets.
Right. Well, it's only because she said, how are we going to gather
But we can
input?
help set up channels for feedback. I mean,
Well,
we did this for the fire station. Like, you know, let's
Sure, yeah.
let's make a survey. Let's say what do you need out of town hall, and when and why.
And that's why
you know, a sense of the meeting vote's difficult because you're kind of putting an up and down
Yeah, it's yes or no.
proposal on
Yeah.
something that is obviously very complicated, has a lot of angles. I mean, we should support Mike in,
No,
in setting up. I don't know.
Right.
So maybe, bouncing off what Sam just said, is it some sort of a survey similar to what the fire department did? What would you find most What do you need from your town? Like, maybe it's not just town hall hours. Like, if we're gonna do a survey, I feel like it should be bigger than that.
Well,
I don't think
No?
we should
Okay.
Make it
No.
too broad.
Okay.
Make it like.
All right.
Yeah,
What
we
do
don't
you
need to
agree?
discuss
Yeah,
it right,
yeah.
we don't need to discuss it here
No,
now.
but it could be a future agenda
Other than
item.
to
Yeah.
say, all of this
Will
is
be taken-
helpful
yeah.
and
No, I
represents part of the angles of what needs to be looked at.
No, I agree with Sam, and I think if we come up with a survey, and I'm gonna say, I think we should focus in on this one. What hours, because to your point about, it could get very confusing on town floor. Because someone's gonna say, make it 5 to 7, make it 6 to 2, makes, throwing out hours all over the place. I think the survey would help Mike determine which hours, whether they be a Friday, whether they be a Monday, whether it be a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe a Friday, who knows what the hours will be. Somebody may want a Saturday, who knows? So I think, a survey would help Mike.
Well, there's an idea for you and Rajan and Kelly to think about. All right, any more discussion of this one? Seeing none? Oops, sorry. I'm sorry, I just hit my mic. I lost, okay. Let's move on to, I think we should be able to finish up the warrant, right, Kel? Do you want to, I know we have a.
Do you want me to answer some of the questions that have come up?
Oh, gosh, I'm
Concerns?
sorry, yes, I'm
That's
sorry.
all right.
Yeah. I know you were
Um,
taking notes too, I watched you. Okay.
So, going back to that Tuesday in the second week of January, when I assembled the staff up in the Morse Hillberg room, the number one question that staff had for me is, why are we doing this? What's the need? What's the purpose? And this was coming from a bunch of people who've chosen as a career to serve people. They wanted to know that this change we were making was going to be helping. And we couldn't wrap our arms around that answer. So I've come here prepared tonight to go on a mission, and I've already talked with some staff members about gathering some information on what's the community need, what's the community want, and do a needs assessment, do a cost value analysis, that sort of thing. Because that's the piece that I think we were missing right from the beginning, is what's the need. And I didn't hear it, and I wasn't able to establish it myself either. But yet we all jumped into it, and so here we are. So I think that's, a survey is something that we've talked about and we're interested in finding out what's the overall community need. And I think it's not just on this one topic. We need to find out, what does the community need from its government? And we have, if you discount me, we have professionals on staff that are great at doing surveys and doing public engagement and finding out what people need and want in their life to improve their quality of life. So we can do that. For me, my number one concern through this period was recruitment. We've done a couple of recruitments. In fact, we've got one going on, 2 going on right now. And we have had some applicants, a few, in each of these recruitments that have indicated that, because they had seen that, one person in particular who was looking at the assessor position said, I thought you were remote on Fridays. And said, well, we were, but we're not. And so I don't know if that person's going to apply. And then for the other assistant accountant position, same thing. So for me, that's a big concern, is that we, before we take away a no-cost benefit, that we make sure that the value outweighs what we're taking away. Because we want to continue to recruit high-value individuals that are going to provide a great service to the town.
You could still give them a remote day another day, right? Mike, we could look into that as opposed to a Friday.
I think that is the stressor. Why does it have to be Friday that's
Right,
remote?
yeah. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and those are all things we need to look at.
Mm-hmm.
I guess those are the main things that I wanted to share, other than I do want to let staff know, and I'll let them know starting tomorrow, that we are not going to be open this Friday, and we'll take a period to reassess and do some of the things that we talked about and that I heard here tonight.
Okay. Awesome.
So we need to, tomorrow, get it on the website, we need to get it on the doors, and let people know as quickly as we, put up that short notice. We need to get it out really quick so we don't have people knocking on the door Friday, disappointed that we've changed on them again.
I actually like the idea of you engaging. I mean, we are coming into a couple of years. I mean, the world's already a stressful place. We're coming into a couple of stressful years, no question. So, the more dialogue, the more people are comfortable talking with us about their needs and what we can afford and what we can't afford, I think the better. So all the way around, in a weird way, this has been a really uncomfortable couple of months for everybody for lots of different reasons. So, but it might be a great way to open up communication with people.
Yeah. It's interesting. Had this come up 6 months later, maybe it would have gone a little differently, because we have 4 professionals who are involved in a training program now. So Rajan, along with our library director and our police chief and our director of land use, are going through something at the Lincoln Land Institute, where
going through a class, not a trauma.
with their learning specific skills to engage with the community, and they're now going to enter about a 1-year period. They're going to be working on a community project, and the project that they have taken on is very broad. It's a communication project, and Rajan and his team, he's the leader of this team, will be presenting their project to the town at one point. And 2 of the main components of this project are going to include listening and feedback loops. And that's why I say, had this come 6 months later when they were into this project, maybe we would have been better prepared. But I know in the future we will be, because they've taken this project very seriously, and they're learning a lot, and I'm excited to see what they do with and for the community with their project.
Wonderful.
And I think this, will fold in nicely.
Nice. Thank you for slowing me down. I appreciate that. Okay. Now we can move into the town meeting warrant. Now, for anybody who saw this online, for all of us, these are not in any particular order yet. This is still the draft. We still have to put together consent agenda and all that good stuff. But I think the first thing we need to do, Kelly, and correct me if I'm wrong, is we need to finish voting on anything we haven't already voted. Right. And I think we also need to talk a little bit about all the planning board articles, because there's a lot of them. So why don't we start with moving through?
And I think I'm going to let Rajan do most of the speaking on this.
Yeah, I would say you're frogging. Yeah.
Right back.
Yeah. If you need to head out, zoom in.
No, I want to be here for these last couple of
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, Kelly, where did we leave off?
So how do we handle Article 5, which is the town budget?
We can't vote it until the FinCom votes it, right?
Tony's on here, so if he wants to
Tony?
answer, he can, or I'm here. Is he still on?
Yep, he is. Okay. Hey, Tony.
Hey, how you doing?
So how would you like us to handle Article 5?
Well, we haven't got the final budget voted yet. Well, tomorrow night, I think we should have the final budget.
That's the question.
And we'll vote it then.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect, thanks. Okay. So that we're going to wait until we have a final budget.
Okay, yep.
So this is the citizens petition for reconsideration of town meeting vote. So this one is going to be a standalone article. This isn't going to go in consent, even if it's mutually agreed by select board and FinCom, but we're going to keep this as a standalone article.
Does this go all the way, usually citizens?
No, it's going right after Article 5. So we got advice from our former moderator that, it's not a good idea to put a citizen's petition at the end just because it might not
Okay. I
have.
thought they always went in the end, so I was wrong then.
Yeah, so this time we're actually just gonna have it go after Article 5, before we start to get into the consent agenda items.
You need to vote this.
So that actually, well, I won't jump, I want to jump ahead, but I won't. One of the reasons I want to talk about all the planning board articles is figuring out what's time sensitive and what's not, only because same thing, we have a lot to do. We're probably going to be a 3-night town meeting, and I am concerned that by the time we get to the third night, there'll be 50 people there, half of which will be sitting up on the days. So, but we'll get to that when we get to those articles. Okay, so
We did get an answer back from town council, and they said that we cannot change any of the wording of how it was submitted in. Just
the sense of the meeting? Right,
sense-
no, we're not going to change
Or
that.
not the sense of the meeting, the citizen position.
Oh, that's what I mean.
You had asked last time that we got some clarification.
Thank you.
And they said we have to leave it as it is.
Exactly the way it is. Okay, all right. Okay. So we should take a vote on this. The recommendation is already partially written, subject to the vote. Anybody's thoughts, comments, considerations? All right, then I move to recommend Article 6 to amend general bylaw entitled Reconsideration of Town Meeting Vote.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That is unanimous. And are you all comfortable with the recommendation? I think I wrote that. I don't even remember anymore.
You did.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. All right, next. What's the next one? Well, yeah.
Chapter 90 highway reimbursement.
Okay, whose is this one?
Wait, did we, okay, yeah, keep going, yeah.
Who wrote this one?
Was it Wes or Sam?
DPW?
It's a DPW article.
Who had DPW?
I didn't write this recommendation.
Oh, so Wes, did you write it?
I think so.
That's like me. I'm like, I don't know which one I wrote anymore. I know I didn't do DPW. Okay, Wes, do you want to speak to this at all? I just kind of figure whoever wrote the recommendation should speak to it.
I mean, pretty simple.
Do you want, okay, I understand speak simple, but
What is
could
it?
you speak to it?
Oh,
I mean,
Chapter 90, yeah.
yeah, just accepting the funds.
Okay. Good, move it.
Okay, I move to recommend Article 7, Chapter 90, Highway Reimbursement Program.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Who wrote this one?
I think I did this one. The select board, it was recommend, this is a simple one, this is just the old free cash that we're gonna be moving back to the general fund, that's it.
Okay. Do you want to move it? I just figured
Yeah,
whoever's writing the
yeah, sure.
recommendations, you're welcome to move them.
I move to recommend Article 8 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? And that's unanimous. We always like putting money back where it belongs.
Sure.
Sure. All right, cable services and equipment, whose is this?
I think this was Sam.
Sam,
Oh, no, I didn't write this.
all right, it's Wes.
I know, I used to always ask Wes to do all the tech stuff.
The cable.
So this is for us to accept our cable services fund, and it's also part of continuing our services for the IMA with Littleton Cable Television.
Okay. What's that?
Do you want me to get the recommendation list of who wrote what?
No, we should remember who
We
was
should be able
what,
to
for
remember what we
goodness sake.
wrote.
Yeah, okay. Any further discussion or questions from the board? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That was me, I think, because
I have no recollection of writing
mention
that.
of possibly needing additional funds in the future.
Okay,
Yeah, and that's because we're bringing in less, right, as people cancel cable?
right,
Is that why, Wes?
Yep.
All right.
okay.
Okay, did we actually vote? No, I don't really remember.
We
All those
sort
in
of
favor,
all said
please say
aye.
aye.
We said
We did?
Aye.
Aye.
But there
Abstain?
was chatter.
All right, yeah, no abstain. Okay, it's unanimous. All right. You know, I get in trouble when I do it wrong, I get in trouble when I do it right. Article 10, compensation, classification, and benefit study. So we just heard that presentation from the personnel board. Bob, I think this is yours, right?
Yep, so yeah, this is the one that I,
We discussed this enough, right?
Right, but I just, is there any, well, you read the recommendation, is there any further
wanna
discussion on
move
this
it?
one?
why don't you move it?
No, go ahead and move that.
I move to recommend.
Oh,
that-
because he's abstaining, that's why, he doesn't want to, yeah, because
Oh.
he's
Right,
he's on the
exactly, yeah.
personnel plan. All right,
Kelly, move, bring it down. I want to see what
What's the
the
article
article
number?
is.
What's the article number? 10.
I move to recommend the, it's recommending, right?
Mhm.
Recommending the compensation classification and the benefits study.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, and that one's unanimous.
No,
Oh, wait,
one abstention,
one abstention, that's right, 4-0-1.
Technically, that's still unanimous.
Okay.
Did you guys already do this?
No, it was Article 4.
Oh, yeah, we already did it, yeah, so you can just put that in there. It's the same one, yeah, probably. I'm tired. Okay, so we already did 4-0-1 for this one. And for Article 11, we did 4-0-1.
okay.
Okay, beautiful. So do you want to just update that? Yeah, 4-0-1 on 10. And then 11 is Public Works, underground fuel tank removal. Okay.
Did we not do this one?
We did.
Yeah, we already voted that one,
Yep.
so we can keep going.
Going, yeah.
I think it was up to IT.
We did a lot of these
We
already.
voted those,
Yeah.
Yep,
Which one, too?
I think page 18.
Yeah, we'll just wait for you to stop.
Okay, here's the.
Museum is the next one I have.
The dog
Dog
license.
license fines.
Who's is this one?
Yeah, we did that, yep.
No.
No,
Yeah,
we
this-
haven't
we
voted
didn't.
it yet. All right, I wrote this one. All right, so basically this is just renewing the revolving fund. So it just, reauthorizes the revolving fund.
And
So- We're not actually talking about the dollar amounts, we're
Right.
just creating the fund. We are gonna talk about fees sometime before town meeting, but not tonight.
Okay.
So this is simply about reauthorizing the fund. So I move to recommend that we amend the general bylaw revolving fund dog license fines.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. So that is unanimous. No, you know why I know it's mine? Because I did the unanimous / pending vote, because I didn't want anyone to think I was steering you. Hey, there's a lot of critics out there right now, I tell you.
Okay, 15. Oops, this is ready, sorry.
All right, say, this is the same exact thing, we're reauthorizing,
No, this is police.
right.
I think we're
Yeah,
authorizing
you just
for the
have to
first
vote
time.
this one.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yep.
But
Do you want to vote it?
we haven't voted. Yeah.
We haven't voted it, but yeah.
Who's the police one?
If nobody remembers, I'll just read it. I move to recommend that we amend the general bylaw, police detail vehicle revolving fund.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That is unanimous.
And this one you'll have to vote.
Yep, that's another one of mine, so, I have to read the actual thing up there.
Sorry.
That's okay. I just want to make sure I read it right. All right. I move to recommend department revolving fund expense limits. So this just all that, that's exactly what it says. It limits what can be spent out of each fund.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? That is unanimous. Post-employment benefits trust fund.
This is the one we do every year, right? The 300,000?
Yeah. Yep. Does anyone need any further explanation on this one?
This is for OPEB. Yep.
Yep. Other post-employment benefit liability trust fund.
And FinCom already recommended this, right? Yeah, 6-0.
Yep.
Okay. Good.
I move to recommend other post-employment benefit, OPEB, trust fund.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That is unanimous. Town hall and library, I missed it.
Voted it.
We already did that one, good. Done. All right. Town clerk, poll pad replacement. Anybody need any more explanation? explanation?
Nope.
All right, I move to recommend the town clerk's pull pad replacement.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That's unanimous. Information technology hardware upgrades and
This one was
replacements.
5, right? Let's
Was-
vote that again.
You want to revote it?
Yeah, because I had 4.
And you're, okay. Any further discussion on this one? Again, this is part of the capital plan. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. Actually, wait, I didn't move it, did I? Did I move it and second it?
No.
No. Wes, come on, you're supposed to keep us honest. All right, I move to recommend information technology, hardware upgrades and replacements.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 500. Perfect. And
Software.
OpenGov online permitting software.
I wrote this one.
Okay, this is yours, Sam.
Sam, do it.
I move to recommend Article 21.
Anybody have any questions for? I think this is great. Yeah, we had a presentation at
Wes
Capital
seconded.
Saturday for this.
Yeah, Wes seconded.
So,
Okay.
okay.
All
We're
those
keeping
in-
all the article numbers as is.
No, that's why I haven't been saying article whatever. That's why I've been reading it.
Sorry,
Uh,
cancel motion. I move.
That's why I asked
I
him.
move to recommend an article about OpenGov online permitting software.
Second.
Some of them may get renumbered.
Yeah.
Well, some might go into the consent agenda and all that, yeah. So, okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That is unanimous.
MS4.
This was
That's
this
Sam's.
is Clean Water Act. I don't think we did this one yet.
Oh, it
Yeah, we
says we
did.
did.
Yeah, we did.
Yep.
We did it in the,
When you were eating.
I hadn't written it though, but okay, fine. That's fine with me. Okay.
Museum, yeah, we gotta do this one.
I did this one
Yeah,
too.
we gotta do it.
I move to recommend the basement museum HVAC dehumidifier
Second.
article.
Yeah, that's it. That's an easy one.
Mhm.
Dehumidification at a museum, yeah. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That's unanimous.
All the 5 ones we did.
I think we're done. Community.
Oh, awaiting final cost from the state.
Yeah, we did
Expected
those one.
shortly.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did that
Do we
one.
have that yet?
Yeah.
We did this one, right?
Yeah.
We did that.
We voted it, but we're just waiting for the dollar amount, and Hanwha reached out to the state, and she's waiting for a call.
Okay, so
But
do
it
we
should
have
be
to
like-
redo it once the dollar amount comes?
If you want to.
Are
It's
we
like-
good?
It's like 300 or 400.
Oh, okay, okay,
It's
as
teeny.
long as we're good, okay,
$400 or something.
whatever.
All the CPC they did.
They did all those?
I don't think we voted the CPC ones.
I thought we did.
I thought we did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did.
One.
Sam, that was when you were eating.
No, that was because Priya had to leave. I don't think we.
We did
I mean-
some of them.
Well, maybe go slow then and make sure we did all of
Because
them.
I
thought we did too.
wanted to vote present on the reserves and dues ones. I would
Okay,
have
so
done that.
this, okay, we voted this one
Well, do we have the minutes from the meeting?
At the end.
at the end.
Yeah, there's 3 sets of minutes at the end.
Yeah, no, I know. I just don't.
Okay,
I
so-
don't recall having done any of the CPC ones.
Rajan, can you check
I
the
hadn't
minutes and
written
make
the-
sure that we actually voted these? It would have been 2
I hadn't
meetings
written
ago.
the summaries at that point, and we finished up doing something else, and then Priya had to leave.
Yeah, I had to
we
leave
stopped.
for the fire station meeting,
Right.
yeah.
I'm almost sure we didn't.
Well, we'll just check it then. Poor Mike.
It's
May
March 9th.
March 9th, when I started it. That's the Blanchard?
Do we have that meeting?
Oh, wait, there they are. All right, let's just check them all, because did we do it then?
It's there.
It
but
would have
I
been in order.
It's there in the minutes, but I sure don't remember it.
Yeah, see, I do. Because I think we just trusted that you were going to, that you'd write the recommendations, and that if anybody had an issue with your recommendation, they could, you know, and it's all in the,
That's fine. I
Morrison.
would like to, can I move to reconsider
Of
one
course
of the
you can.
votes?
Yep, go
Yeah,
ahead.
which one?
I would move to reconsider the votes on the Community Preservation Fund reserves and dues.
Is this for the flare? I'm sorry. which
No,
one?
no, the first CPF one. It's the reserves, it's the Reserves Trust Fund and
Oh, you're
annual
so good,
dues.
Maria.
The next one up, Kelly. This one.
This one?
Yep.
Okay, so Sam, what do you want to do here?
Well, I just moved to reconsider it, so I guess there should be a second and a vote for that.
Second. Priya can have it.
Yep, Priya's got it. And what do you want to do? So you want us to re-vote, Sam, now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, tell us why.
In my day job, I am associated with the organization that's in receipt of the dues that are being paid by this.
So you're supposed to, okay.
I would like to, yeah.
So all
I actually
those,
thought you did. Don't you remember all those? We were joking about it, and Sam has to abstain.
Well, I do, I
No,
also
no.
abstain for the appointments to the CPC.
Right. Okay.
But I don't mind weighing in on the individual projects unless the fund actually comes to the organization that I'm associated
so,
with.
Christian, go ahead and take a vote.
Sure. Can you just scroll up a little bit? Sure. Cal? I move to recommend the Community Preservation Fund CPC report and establish FY 2027 reserves.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Present.
Okay. And Sam already explained why he's abstaining.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. No, thanks for being on top of it.
Plastic bags, where's the plastic bags? Right there,
Okay.
this one.
Can you see if Lola's still on, or if she's, only because now we can talk about that.
She's not.
She's not.
She left.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I wanted to bring this up to you guys anyway. Like, we have, and we're probably gonna have to ask the planning, maybe go to the planning board and talk to them too, depending on how you all feel. But we have a fall town meeting in place for, my understanding is for planning board articles. So it's designated, so people know, we might do a little bit of cleanup, but that is time for planning. So I'm a little concerned at the number of, planning board sponsored articles. Now, this is the general bylaw, it's not zoning bylaws, but I am a little concerned that by the time we get through all the other big stuff, there might not be all that many people there to discuss it. And my feeling is that this one came up fast, and I understand, you know, sustainability and composting and all of that, but I feel like maybe we haven't considered all of the ramifications. And where we have so few carry-out restaurants, so few stores, you know, again, I appreciate supporting the Commonwealth and supporting all the other communities that are doing it, but I'm not sure that it's what we need to be doing right now.
At least I think my thing is I definitely would support this, but like I think we need to have at least the exceptions probably spelled out a little bit better. Like what are the different case scenarios where we need to like make some concessions, however it would needs to be worded. Does it make sense, Mike? Like, I mean, because I don't want us to put the onus squarely on the building inspector and leave it up for him to interpret the whole thing, right? And what if like once they like approve it and then maybe something changes in the future, like, and somebody else comes and takes it back, it's just cause for confusion. I mean, we saw, again, this is not like a zoning bylaw, it's a general bylaw, but we saw how one little word being dropped off the definition cost the town like hundreds and thousands of dollars. I just cannot afford to see our small businesses being impacted by this. And as Lala was explaining, it was pretty serious based on like what she was saying. Like it impacts her really detrimentally. So I would like to see, if I'm fully in support of, like, I'm not for any plastics. I've like pretty much thrown everything out from in my house on a day-to-day basis too. But I think we need to have like concessions or exceptions till at least the technology catches up, right?
I will say, I hadn't even thought about Lala's display, you know, and needing people to be able to see the chocolate bunny. You know, I was all in, you know, Craft Food already uses the compostable containers. You know, I was all in on that. I hadn't actually thought about this. So that's actually why I'm kind of stepping back and saying, what have we not thought of? Is there a special permit that a small business could apply for if they, if they require clear cellophane bags? I don't know what they're called anymore. So yeah, so I'm a little concerned that this one's moving too fast and that perhaps we need to spend a little more time thinking about it.
So let me ask the question. So let's say we don't do anything. Who's presenting this article?
The planning board.
The planning board.
And this still can go forward?
It's our warrant.
It's our warrant.
So I would never yank it without talking to them first
Yeah.
and expressing, you know, so what I'm asking this board is, you know, do we move to,
Yank it?
I'm gonna move to remove this from the ATM to bring back in September. At least that was my intent, because I am a little concerned that we're going too quickly on this one without enough public input.
So do you
No.
feel that that's okay?
I'm just happy we're weighing in on planning board articles.
Yeah. No, right, no, I mean, well, that was my question. It's like, do we even, I mean, I didn't realize we have the right to yank it out.
No, but this impacts the economic development, which,
Right.
And I agree with you. No, I agree with
so
you,
I
but-
think that if it impacts,
It is a general bylaw, not a zoning bylaw. So
yeah.
Okay, so I apologize.
it's just sponsored by the planning board, but it is a general bylaw.
I defer to you guys. I don't know why you're asking me, but I defer to you guys.
Oh, stop it.
I'm all for getting, you know,
Yeah.
plastic and styrofoams out of our
Absolutely,
systems.
yeah. I mean,
But-
with the PFAS,
Well, let's do it
we
right.
understand all of
Sure.
that, but like.
I just want to make sure we do it carefully, that's all.
Yep, I agree.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Finn, did you want to add some input?
Yeah, with regard to businesses that might be detrimentally impacted by this, would it be possible to, instead of banning all of these, you know, particular materials, instead somehow incentivizing some of the local businesses to switch to some more sustainable options?
Finn, I think what she was saying is she has already switched. There is no other option available for some of these things. So,
Okay.
Which is why she's saying, I mean,
so it's already as sustainable as she can reasonably
as she can
get
be.
it.
She said she has like her cups and the forks and the knives, everything she's made it compostable. She's
Okay.
already bought all those. But for like display, right? Like you have a box of chocolates to be able to see what is in there.
I haven't been to their shop, but like Priscilla's, I know they have like the cardboard boxes, and then there's a little like cellophane
Yeah, the little
square.
square plastics.
Okay, so wow, okay.
Cellophane that you just said, the little cellophane, is what she can't do
Huh.
under this change.
Yeah, maybe there could be like a limit.
That's why I'm saying like
That's
an
why
exception or
Not
a
more
concession.
than,
Yeah.
We need to put, I agree with you, I think we need to put this off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I move, help me out, is this to defer this to special town meeting in the fall to allow for further deliberation?
I'll second that,
Wes, what do you think?
I think that's a bad idea.
to delay it.
But I don't want it to fail on town meeting floor either.
Well, I mean, if it fails, then that's the feedback that they get. This is their article.
But when it impacts the town, we have the right to have input on it.
So wait,
That's not input, that's literally nixing it.
I mean, it's our warrant though.
It is the select board's warrant.
Okay, Maria?
So far be it for me to agree with Wes, but I am agreeing with Wes. So
Oh, come on.
I'll be honest with you, when I was on the select board, there was a group of people who wanted the select board, and you were on the select board with me, Bob, to pull a planning board article because they didn't like it. It was the 1414 warehouse bylaw changes,
Mhm.
right? And I sat in your seat and I said, we've never done this before. I talked to John Fallon. It's our warrant. However, they're an elected board and they put it on, and it would be, I equated it to if the school came to us and said, we need a roof, and I said, as the chair of the select board, well, 30% of the people are seniors, so you don't really need the roof. They need something, so we're just not going to do it, and pull the article off. I know you want input, and that's what you should do. You should take input, and you should either vote on this and vote no, or you should go back to the planning board. My feeling is that this is a bad precedent, Kristen, and I don't want to.
No, you didn't hear what I said, to recommend that the planning board withdraw.
But you're going to do a motion for it. This is not a conversation.
Well, I need to know whether the board supports requesting that the planning board remove it. That's where
Okay.
I'm at, is
That's what
trying
I'm
to
saying.
understand, do we ask the planning board to pull it and spend some more time for reconsideration at special town meetings? So I'm not saying
So
never
if the planning
bring
board
it,
were to say no, you would leave it?
then we can vote.
Okay.
Then we can vote yes or no, whether.
Okay.
We
I
can,
just-
we also
like I
have
said-
the option of either recommending or not recommending, and just let the planning board know how we moved. And I know that when I've been on the other boards and commissions, when we got pushback from the executive committees, for lack of a better word, we pulled our own articles, because if we didn't have
but they're an
support.
elected board. So,
Right. Right.
so I just, whatever, do what you want. The advice I would give you is just tread lightly, because that could just cause a lot of chaos around something that doesn't need a lot of extra noise.
No,
Like,
it's right.
No, that's good input.
No, and
That's good
I appreciate
input.
that, and I appreciate what Wes said, because what I didn't want to do with the way I'm going to vote is, I want to leave it on, but I don't want to recommend this.
Okay, that's fine too.
Because to Wes's point, I want to let the town decide. And if the planning board wants to move forward with it, then the planning board has the right to move forward.
I think, I'm torn, because I do want to remove plastics and styrofoam, whatever
Oh, I
it
do
is,
too.
right? But I do, so is there a way we can talk to the planning board before we even consider anything?
Yes.
Even say, because I would want to be recommending for this, if they would provide exceptions or concessions.
So this is shades of town hall hours all over again, and I'm not going there. So I need direction from this board how you want to handle this. Because, yes, we can absolutely go to the planning board and say, hey, we're a little concerned,
What's the timeline?
I was just gonna
How
say,
quickly can
yeah.
they change? Can they change this based on feedback that we just got, or are we done with changes?
Well, we really need the warrant voted by the 30th. We really should have had it done tonight. We can do it.
When are
But
they
when's
meeting
there, but
next?
if they don't have
That's
another
next Monday.
meeting,
That's
we
next
don't actually, it's too late, maybe.
Also, I don't see anywhere in this bylaw where it would prevent using the cellophane bags for food.
Oh, good, okay.
Like it
Do
says,
tell.
literally, it says, 6 months following the approval of the bylaw by the Attorney General, retail establishment, blah, 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 a thin film, single-use plastic checkout bags. They must be used recyclable paper bags or reusable checkout bags. Disposable food service wares made from foam polystyrene, which is or solid polystyrene, or disposable plastic utensils. Meat trays, fish trays, seafood trays, vegetable trays, or egg cartons made in any part of foam, polystyrene, or solid. Packing materials including packing peanuts, shipping
Packing?
boxes.
Yeah,
Packing
Put that-
materials, including packing peanuts and shipping boxes, made in whole or any part with.
Packing.
But
I
it's
don't
not.
know.
It's not cellophane is not polystyrene.
But then we have to make sure she's using cellophane. That's why I was like, I don't know the chemical
Yeah,
compound or whatever she
I-
has.
Ice
Okay.
chests, like pool or beach toys, dock floats, mooring buoys, or anchors.
All right.
That kills my pool party.
Wow, I was gonna say,
Kristen,
pool party.
This was discussed at EDC. Is there anyone on the meeting from the EDC?
Is there anybody in
I
the
don't know
audience
who's
who is
left. I
on,
know
who
Rich
is
was on
on
at one
EDC?
Rich is here.
Oh, Rich, are you there, Rich?
Hello, Rich.
No.
No, we have to, Rich Cusardi.
He has to be unmuted, he's muted, if he's even there.
Did he just leave?
Yeah, he's
He just-
No, he's there.
No game, no
He's
game.
there.
He is?
Yeah.
Where?
I asked him.
No, no,
You
you're
just made him a co-host.
You
All right,
made
maybe
him a
he's not.
co-host.
Yeah. Rich, are you there, Rich? Hello, Rich.
Oh, man, all
Okay,
right.
so at
Okay.
the EDC meeting,
Yep.
Alex said that this would be included. There was a big discussion about Two Friends Chocolate and specifically their packaging. So I don't know where it is in the bylaw, because I also read the bylaw and I didn't see that, but it was a discussion. Alec was at the meeting and suggested if she needed an exception, that she could go to the building inspector. So that,
Is there an
that
appropriate
conversation,
process?
I couldn't
I
find it
can't
in the
read that
bylaw,
from
but the
here.
bylaw is pretty dense.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a discussion with the planner at EDC.
You could probably
And-
copy it
and
into
two
AI
friends.
and ask the question.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that would be the only thing that we,
I
you
mean,
know.
that makes sense, why she would even like kind of bring it up, right? Like, I mean, I don't.
Well, there's also other small businesses that package things in cellophane bags. So I also don't want it to look like we're designing something around one particular business. We have lots of cottage industries, people that make soap, people that make candles. You know, all right, they're going to fly under the radar because they're, they're operating out of their homes, but they still exist. So, okay.
See, it says packing material right there, shall mean material used to hold.
Oh, Chris, yes.
Okay, good.
Thank you. What's the planning board thinking on this one, Chris?
Yeah, the intent was like takeout bags. So like the plastic bag you might get at a grocery store or a gas station to carry things out with, or the foam containers like with food takeaway. That's the intent. It is worth someone that knows the actual materials involved in various things reading through and making sure that they would not infringe or they would comply with this. I agree with Wes that by my read, this shouldn't cover those kind of little display windows in a cardboard box or something. It'd be like the shipping containers, things like that. Like no foam packing peanuts, no foam floats or buoys, or like the styrofoam coolers, like disposable coolers that used to be around. None of those.
But my only question, I'm actually looking at it, and one of the things says packing material shall mean material used to hold, cushion, or protect items packed in a container from shipping, transport, or storage, which is what she's doing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can see a broad reading of that, of like the little
So
like
this
9
is
compartment
packing
box.
materials, but in the
Is that a-
enforcement, it talks specifically about polystyrene and foam and solid polystyrene.
I just don't want, like, we can sit here and interpret everything and somebody else will say, I'm gonna, this is by the law, somebody from that knows bylaws will come and say, yeah, it could be interpreted. We don't want to make that mistake. I don't want what happened
They
with
would
the.
also be able to look at our
Yeah.
meeting minutes and debate and planning board meeting minutes as evidence of what we meant to do. So I'm kind of.
And the building inspector is the one that has the authority to waive.
This seems clear that we're not trying to get rid of this very, very specific piece of packaging.
And there is also a clause in there for undue hardship. So if someone in town, like say a small business owner with a specialty food shop, has an undue hardship and needs a waiver, the building inspector can grant those.
But we are leaving it to the discretion of the building inspector, right, Chris? And that's my thing. It's like if we don't have set, clear instructions,
Sometimes we gotta leave things to the discretion of the
Exactly.
building inspector.
Yeah.
Well, and then their
can't-
Adam, I'm gonna get to you, and then their recourse would go to the zoning board. And I think my only concern
Yeah.
about that is that could take weeks to months before you actually got heard, and in the meantime, a business has had cease and desist slapped on them. I'm just going down worst case scenario. Adam,
I don't
lead
wanna-
us out of this quagmire.
I don't want to
Adam.
string this on any further. I just looked at the exceptions, and item number 1 in the exceptions talks about nothing shall prohibit individuals using thin film plastic bags, typically without handles, that are used to contain produce, meat, bulk foods, wet items, other similar things. So if you're talking about a cellophane bag that's drawn up with a pretty bow and it doesn't have handles, it might be considered an exception.
Okay.
But clearly, there's no strong consensus either way.
I think it's clear at this point what we're all attempting to do here, and I, for one, think it makes sense to leave it as it is.
All right. Chris, can you bring back to the planning board just that our minor concerns, and that way if they did want to do any amendments in any way, they'd be able to do that? on the town.
We're out of time to get anything printed in the
No,
warrant,
I
right?
mean on town meeting floor. So I'm thinking that since you're actually attending tonight, that you could bring it back to the board to say, hey,
Yeah.
you know, let's just make sure, because you can always make amendments on town meeting floor.
Yeah, we really don't want to do that unless we
I know
absolutely
you don't.
have to.
I know you don't. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm just, since you're here.
Then we can leave it as is, I guess, and not, I'm not inclined to recommend or not recommend. I'll leave
I
it.
think we should recommend it.
All right, well, make a
You
motion.
think?
Yeah,
If they are going to like go back and discuss it on,
it doesn't seem like that's.
Chris was saying they don't want, he doesn't think the board would be interested in doing that, so it'll be
I'm very
something that
comfortable
we'll discuss on
recommending it.
town meeting floor. I will say, Adam, I feel a lot better because you found that line, that if there is an exemption for the clear film for packaging, then I actually feel a lot less concerns are addressed.
okay.
So,
So,
therefore-
yeah, because Bob has the printed, because I need printed, I can't do that up there, and yes, it is right here.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's literally number 1, section 4, number 1. Okay. Okay, make a motion. All right. I move to recommend general bylaw amendment, plastic bag, polystyrene, and disposable plastic reduction bylaw.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That is unanimous. Thank you, Adam, for finding that line. Quick, get out.
Good
Save
job.
yourself. Save yourself.
That's it.
Okay. What's this one?
She's just adding.
Oh, sorry. Just because we don't usually do anything on planning board articles and. Sam, while she's doing that, why don't you express a little bit more? You had said, I'm glad we're discussing planning board articles. Why don't you kind of give your position?
Oh, I was just kidding.
No, you weren't. You know what?
I have expressed frustration in the past with the practice, and I'll let that stand.
Okay, authorize the town of Boxborough to prohibit or restrict the application of second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides. And actually, Sam, I believe you educated us on this. It is not the stuff you buy at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. It's more the pest companies that come in. They're using it at commercial.
Right.
You explain it. You explained it before.
I thought there was a change to this. Am I? Did they separate the bylaw and the home rule petition from each other?
So this is to do the special legislation. So
I was under the impression that there was an act authorizing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right.
So this is.
So this authorizes special legislation to allow Boxborough to regulate on privately owned property.
So this is good, Sam?
Yeah, this is very good.
And we recommended it 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
We should, if we haven't already.
And we did. I like it. Next one.
All right. Well, are
And
we?
to
are
remind
we-
people, we already don't use it on land we own and manage.
Okay, so are we voting on that one then?
Nope, we did. We were done. We're good.
Okay, next.
I don't think did they make a final vote? Did you make a?
I don't
Should we
think you
redo
voted
it?
on it.
I don't think you voted.
You voted.
Oh, you were just
Oh.
copying.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, so I
Oh,
move
you go
to
back up.
recommend authorizing the town of Boxborough to prohibit or restrict the application of second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides.
second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstain. Again, I've got those battery ones, they're pretty awesome. I'll lend them out.
I like them too.
They're awesome.
Do you want just the standard, the select board unanimously?
For the reasons stated above.
Okay, I'll put that in afterwards. And then these are planning the zoning bylaw amendments, and typically you do not.
Nope.
And then that's it, so we're all done.
So the one thing, I still am concerned that on night 3, when nobody is left except for the 30 of us up on the days and a smattering of people, I mean, we have special town meeting in the fall for planning board articles. So I think at this point, if the planning board wants to bring it all to ATM, they can certainly do that, but then maybe we cancel STM. You know, I mean, what, like we budget for that, you know, getting back to Priya's thoughts, we put money aside for a special town meeting, it goes in the calendar, et cetera, et cetera. Chris, if you're still on the, or Mark, whoever wants to raise their hand, are you planning on anything for special, or you're just trying to get it all done?
They had the scenic, but
was gonna say
the
they
two,
pulled two
yeah,
things, yeah.
they pulled two of them, so I think they wanted to bring that up.
So you still want to have it? Okay.
We had a generous list that many of them got punted to special.
Yeah.
So are the ones that, I hate to put you on the spot, it's just you're here. So are the ones that are left, the ones that the planning board, and I know you're speaking for the board, feels is pressing, that must go to town meeting in May?
It was the ones that we felt were ready to go to town meeting.
Okay.
The others, clearly needed more work, more public input, et cetera, before they were ready. I mean, if they go to town meeting and they get, voted down by a supermajority, so be it. Town has spoken. And it's just the whole, these are the ones that were ready to be put in front of the town.
Ready for public exposure? Okay. Well, then I have a question for this board. What if we move the planning board articles up? They don't have to be last. Because again, these are things that I think are a big deal. The ADU and is that one gone?
No, that's still on.
That was no, but I actually think that we need more participation in some of these things than less, and there's no reason planning has to be last. Thoughts?
Where are you going to put it?
We would just, up at the front. Because a lot of the stuff that we're doing at this town meeting is housekeeping. A lot of it is housekeeping. So a lot should be in the consent agenda. So if we could move them up,
so
if
that's the case, should it really take 3 nights?
I'm worried about the budget. Well, I'm worried about the budget and all that. Yeah.
So I guess
One or the
sequencing.
other, to me, I don't know.
So I guess sequencing wise, I'm trying to think structure wise. So it would be the space where it would probably make the most sense is after the citizens petition.
That's what I'm thinking too.
And then, because after that is the consent agenda items, but.
That's basically what I was thinking, is do it after the citizens petition so that we have maximum. The idea is just maximum participation. We get the most people on the first night, and then the second night it goes down, the third night we're dead.
Sounds good.
We have a hand raised.
Mr. White, what do you think?
Mark?
Yep. You hear me?
Yep. So just so you know, my rationale is I am not trying to pick a fight with the planning board.
No.
I'm not at all. It's like, how do we best get this before everybody?
Yeah, no, I get it. So, I mean, we're cognizant of the fact that we only recently decided to have a special town meeting in the fall for planning board articles. And so we're kind of a little bit torn. We were trying to get them out there while we had the time. And I think what Chris said, it sums it up pretty well, is that we thought they were ready to be presented, and we had some other ones that would go to the fall. So if there's time to hear them with enough audience, then I'd say that then we're okay with it. To be at the end of a 3-day town meeting for articles like those, I think would probably not be great. So, personally, I can only speak for myself, but I guess I would probably speak for the rest of the members to some degree, is that, we'd rather get a full hearing than appear on the last night of town meeting when there's 50 people in the room. So you guys get to decide. It's your meeting, you build it the way you want. If you've got the time to hear it early in the game, I think that would give it a better hearing. And if not, then we can always push it off until the fall. So that's kind of the options.
Chris, your hand is up too. Did you want to respond to what Mark just said?
Yeah, I was going to agree with the things that we would want the most public engagement with should be earliest on the agenda.
Yeah.
Because that's when the most people are going to be in the room.
Right.
And if there are things that, I guess was stated earlier, it is your warrant. So if there's things that you have a strong opinion about, something shouldn't be discussed yet, it can be deferred.
Yeah, it's that fine line. I mean,
Right, and-
Wes and Maria are right. You guys are elected. You're doing what you think is right. You know, there's that balancing act.
And I think, and if we thought we were in that place, I think that honestly might make more sense to do on town meeting floor and kind of have that discussion and potentially have us pull it then. Or can you not actually do that? Do you? I forget the.
No. I mean, I was offering it as an option. Whenever you're talking about these things, it's all the options, and pulling it, I think, would be the last thing. It would be more asking you guys to, but we're only a week away, so now it's late. Not asking, having that discussion.
Kristen,
All right.
I just want to be clear. Are you suggesting moving only the zoning bylaw
No, all the
articles,
move
or
all
all
the- move
6
them all.
of, including the general bylaw?
Yeah, just move all the planning board articles up after the citizens petition, and then do the rest of it after that.
Do you want to do all of them, or just the ones that would require more participation?
How do we make
It would
that?
be hard to say.
I was gonna
It
say,
would
how do
be-
we
yeah.
make
Okay.
that decision?
Yeah.
How do we
Okay.
make that?
Well, I also
Like
kind of feel like
drawing the
once the
line.
planning board is up there presenting, they just get all their articles done. And I know it's a departure, but what I'm hearing from Mark and Chris is they want more participation too.
Okay.
So,
And I guess,
Yeah, for some like the ADU, nudging that to 1,000 square. I don't think anyone's gonna.
no, I think that'll be.
That's not gonna be
Oh God, I
a
jinxed
lively
you.
debate.
I just
Yeah, but
jinxed
you
you, I'm
never know.
sorry.
I mean, yeah.
So that would go from Articles 4 to 49 to like 7 to 12,
Mhm.
pretty much.
I guess, and my only question or concern is that if we start changing the orders of the articles, we've never done that in the past. Planning board has always been put towards the end.
Doesn't mean it was right.
Doesn't mean it was wrong.
You know what though, I've been volunteering for this town since I was 23 years old consecutively, haven't missed a year. And almost every year people say 50 people made zoning decisions that now nobody knows about and spoke for a whole town. So, I mean, that's been a consistent, and I also know planning board members that have been frustrated by the lack of participation too. So, I don't know, I think we should move on. Okay. Do you want to take a vote?
Yeah.
Go ahead, make a motion.
I moved to move all of the zoning board articles,
No, you want to move to keep them where they are.
go ahead. make-
Move what you want.
No, go ahead.
Then I move to reorder the warrant to put planning board articles after Article 6, which is the citizen petition article.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Bob
Opposed?
Stemple, aye.
Okay, abstain? All right, 4-1-0. Okay, get ready, you guys. You're going to be up first, right after the budget. It'll be fun. Mark and Chris, if the planning board wants to let us know what order you guys would like to present, please feel free to let Mike know. The select board orders the rest, but you can decide which ones you want to do first, second, third. What is there, 5 of them? You said 7 to 12? So there'd be 6 of them inclusive? All right. Okay. I think we are at interim town assessor contract extension. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You are correct.
All right, I didn't skip anything. That's what I'm always worried about. What am I skipping through? Okay, Mike, talk us through this one.
So we currently have the assessor position advertised. It generally takes 8 weeks or so to do a recruitment. We've just started that one recently, and we expect this one to be a little longer than some. Some of the financial professional ones take a little longer. So we want to make sure that Jim's interim appointment runs out the end of this month. So we want to, thank you. So we want to make sure that we secure his services until we have a new assessor on board. So I think a 3-month extension would do that.
I think he's doing a great job. I've had really good feedback from people that have interacted with him. So, I mean, that I've limited, but so far I think he's been great. So I appreciate that he's going to be here and help get us to the next stage. What's everybody else's
If I could
thoughts?
talk him into staying forever.
I know.
We would do that
I
too,
actually
'cause
think
he's
he'd be great.
He's terrific. He's very smart, very knowledgeable and experienced.
Yeah. How was the Board of Assessors' first meeting? Do you have any idea? Did they have one yet?
They did. They had one the same time that the board was meeting.
That's what I thought.
Prior to the special.
Yeah.
I understand it went well. I don't have details, but they did
Sure.
elect the 3 positions amongst the 3 of them.
Yep.
So.
And Jim was there, so he's helped guiding them
yeah,
through that
Jim-
process?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, don't ask me to go through, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Great.
we also plan on retaining Jim for some guiding, consulting during the initial months. Because we're assuming we're not going to get someone as experienced or knowledgeable as Jim with all his decades of work doing this, and we think that would be helpful to get the person a smooth transition at the start.
So this is a 90-day extension to his contract?
Yes.
And you think you'll
It's
hire
not-
the new person within 90 days?
We do, or we could do another. So this, what you're voting on now is not an extension to his contract, but just another 90-day for his appointment.
Oh,
And then
okay,
I'll-
sorry,
Yeah,
yep.
and then I'll work on the contract part with him.
And Mike.
That's the intention, though.
And Mike, the hours that he works and the pay he gets all remains the same?
Correct.
Any other questions or concerns for Mike? And seeing none from the public? I move to reappoint James Doherty as interim town assessor for a term ending June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That is unanimous. Thanks, Jim.
Nice job.
Nice job, that's right. All right, we're almost done, you guys. Hang in. We should be done in 10 or 15 minutes, I hope. Reconsider, all right, so next thing up is reconsideration and vote on adoption of written designer selection procedures for the town of Boxborough. So, Mike, it's towards the end of your packet. And Mike just has some updates,
Yep.
basically on advice of town council, but I'll let
Right.
you go through it.
Yeah, so it's on page 76 of the packet, and it's bullet number 8 in the designer selection procedure that you approved a month ago today. And the concern was that, Mass General Law says that you shall have 3 finalists for your architect, for your designer selection, to comply with the law. So knowing that last time the town did an RFQ for designer selection, we had 1 applicant. Now, granted, a lot has changed. The project has gotten bigger. That was just an initial phase. But, we're still a little bit concerned about that. The other thing that's changed is that, and Larry Grossman was the first one to point this out, and I've had a couple other people confirm that there are a lot of architects out there looking for work right now. So we have also had a lot of interest in the RFQ that is out there, but people haven't actually pulled them. We don't know who's going to respond. So anyways, I reached out to council. It was our contract counsel at KP Law, and asked, I proposed that, what if we don't get 3? He says, well, the law says. I said, what flexibility can you give us legally in case we don't? And so I'll read you the beginning of it says.
It's like page 76 or something like that of your packet, you guys, if you want to be able to look at it online.
What it said was the committee shall select at least 3 finalists, which is the same as what it says in the law. And council gave me some language to put on the end of this that gives us a tiny bit more flexibility, but honestly, not much. And so now it reads, the committee shall select at least 3 finalists, except as otherwise permitted by the Designer Selection Board or other governmental body with proper jurisdiction, or as otherwise may be required after reissuing the solicitation. We're concerned about having to go out for a resolicitation, because that, if it takes 8 to 12 weeks to put the RFQ out there, and we have to do it a second time to get 3, that's just more time at $4,000 a day. It really adds up. But this gives us, like I said, a little bit of flexibility, but that's all the room we can get on it. Give it our best shot. So really, the Designer Selection Board is more of a school thing when you're doing something with MSBA. The last part is, reissuing. We don't want to do that. But the middle part is, or other governmental body. So basically, I would have to go to the AG and say, look, we put it out, we had 20 people pick up plans, and, you know, still we only had 2. I think we're gonna get more. I don't think this is gonna be an issue, but we just wanna cover our bases just in case. Just in the interest that we've had just in less than a week, it looks like there's a lot of interest. That's all this is. That's the one change that was made to this, just to give us a teeny bit of flexibility if we get jammed into a corner.
What are all your thoughts?
But there's no other option, right?
You say it's the most flexibility that
That we can
is
get.
allowable under state law per the advice of counsel.
Correct.
Great.
Yeah.
There you go.
Any other comments? All right, then I move to amend, oh, actually, let me just check, I can't see, can you see? The little hands are so little, is there
I don't
anything?
see any.
Okay. I move to amend the written designer selection procedures for the town of Boxborough, general law, section 7, chapter 7C, section 54A, as presented.
Second.
All those, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right. Next, authorization of the Fire Station Building Committee to approve designer selection services finalist. You want to talk us through that one?
Sure. The next 2 articles relate to the designer selection process. In the first motion here is, let me back up. You as a board put in place a fire station building committee of 7 highly educated individuals who are residents with a variety of career paths and educations that make a really solid board. When you put them together, it's really a very dynamic, motivated group. They know this project really well. They've been following this project for some of them almost 2 years, some of them much longer than that. They represent both the select board, the finance committee, and many other facets of town, and they are also supported by myself, the fire chief, and our OPM, all 3 of us non-voting. So the intention here is, my recommendation is that, you know, the jurisdiction for selecting an architect is with the select board. But I think we've put this committee together and they know this project well. I think it might be in the best interest of the town to designate them as the committee that goes through the designer selection process. So that would be 1, to select the finalists. And then the second motion would be to actually let them oversee the negotiation, where the OPM and myself would do the negotiating with the finalist, do the interviews, all of that, and then bring that final contract back to the select board for ratification.
What do y'all think?
I think we should let the committees and the teams we put in place do their job.
I have a few questions.
Sure.
In accordance with town design. So in the second motion with the actual contract, it clearly states final approval by the select board.
Correct.
Is there any oversight or approval involved in the approval of the finalists? Is that not subject to oversight or approval from the select board?
It could be. It could be. The way the procedure that you just voted the amendment to in reads, everything all through that in the 12 or 14 steps is the select board. And I think in step 2 or 3, it says the select board may delegate this authority to any other individual or individuals. So ultimately, it all falls with you as a board. So yeah, absolutely. It could be, you could do the whole designer process. You could delegate the designer process to them and have them bring back the 3 finalists, or you could have them come back and confirm the 1 finalist. It really all falls to you, and you can delegate any or all or none of that.
Okay. On the contract itself, I guess what I would be concerned about is being presented a contract by the Fire Station Building Committee as somewhat of a fait accompli without having any insight into the context or how the negotiation went down, why this provision is this way, et cetera. Without having to attend all the negotiations. I guess I'm curious, what would be the, I guess, A, the expectation, then B, the actual procedure for keeping the select board up to speed on the elements of the negotiation? Would a member of the building committee have to come to a open meeting? I assume not. Would they be able to or have to come to a?
She's sitting here.
Could you explain it in an open meeting? No, I know, but I mean, do we have to go into exec for the purposes of briefing the select board on what the negotiations are like? I'd be happy to delegate this.
Provided you.
Provided the final approval by the select board, and provided that I'm just not getting a final contract with sort of like, here's
the contract.
Here's the contract. I'd like to understand what's happening.
Yep, those are good questions and good points. So at some point, it's gonna have to go to executive session. And it could be a joint executive session where the OPM and I go in with the fire station committee and the select board and say, here's where we are, before it's a final thing, an update along the way. So it could be something like that.
Yeah, I think as long, I think as long as we're kept up to date, there's executive summaries, for lack of a better word, just so you're right. So I've really been thinking.
If we're updated in a way that's appropriate with open meeting law and feasible with the timeline and helpful to ensure that what we've delegated is being carried out appropriately, then I'm totally comfortable with this. I want to sort of express my expectation that that's how that goes.
Right. The other way it could be done is that, it is a contract negotiation, and you're meeting on different nights. They meet on the second and fourth Thursday, you meet on the second and fourth Monday. We could, to maximize, we could give an update on the Monday and the Thursday on here's where we are. If the dates fell right as far as how the negotiations go, or schedule an additional one.
Okay. I think you have a point, Sam. I think we might have to have a, even if it's an executive session, joint session, before we finalize anything. I think for both, right?
Yeah.
I think it'll be helpful, just so that everybody in the board here, yes, I am in that committee,
or even
but
a select
still,
board,
I don't want to be the only one.
Even a select board executive session in which we're receiving an update on how the negotiation from the fire station building committee goes. I don't know how who could say what about what happens and what exact, but I assume since we have a member in common that we have some flexibility here.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing I will tell you is that the RFQ has gone out with all the specifics of timeline, what the expectations are, and so forth, with a not to exceed $2 million. So we know it's not going to come in over that. And our OPM, Steve Kirby, who's done a lot, this is what he does for a living, he said, when you do the negotiation, it might not just be a change in money, lowering the cost that you're looking at. It might be getting more. In other words, sometimes what'll happen is, including in this contract is, okay, this civil engineer is going to come to 2 meetings, this person's going to come to, and he's going to tell us that's never going to fly. You've got a lot of site work up there, you're going to need, so it might be, okay, that dollar figure is not bad, but we don't want change orders later.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It is more nuanced and more complicated than a dollar figure and a delivery date. So that's kind of exactly what I mean. And let me just say also, I hope that what I'm saying wouldn't add any time to the actual execution of this process. I don't want to be the cause of delay. I just want to be educated on what I'm voting on something as important as this.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And the reason for bringing the 2 of these tonight is actually for expediency.
That was my assumption.
Yeah,
so
we don't lose a week.
Right.
But yeah, if we can do that on a Monday and Thursday night and not lose any time, and if not, then maybe we need to schedule a joint meeting. So yeah, to not add time.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking that, you know, that this is a big deal, and we've had some pushback already about our selections, so I think the better educated the select board can be, you know, the better advocates we can be for the community, and we can answer questions. Because I think that's my biggest fear, is when people ask me questions, and I want to make sure I'm answering correctly and truthfully.
Right.
So, yeah.
And also, at the end of the day, the buck stops with us.
Right,
Right? Like,
right.
I mean.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
For something
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
important, as expensive, as
as
high
this.
profile as this,
Yeah.
I mean, we need to be able to explain
Yeah.
ourselves. And again, I want this to be done as quickly as we can move the paper, really. But yeah, it's important that,
Yeah.
important we be really thoughtful when delegating something like this, even to a board as excellent as the fire station
Yeah.
building committee.
No, you're absolutely right, because even if you delegated everything and saw nothing, the buck still comes here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, the bottom line is, it's the select board's authority.
You know, I just drew myself a little triangle: delegation, micromanagement, and abdication of responsibilities, and there's balance there. And I don't think we're looking to micromanage
Yeah,
in any way,
no.
shape, or form, but we can't abdicate our responsibility either.
No, and speed is, I think, speed is a very, very, very high priority here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I like the idea of you coordinating meeting dates with us and planning, you know, planning for those updates. I think that's great. Okay, do you have an anticipated timeline, or how long, so when do they do?
We do. So it's, I think they're looking to do interviews on April 15th or 16th. So that'll be getting down to 3. And then I forget what the rest of the timeline
Okay.
is, but it's coming up real quick.
So the idea is that we'd have them chosen before town meeting,
Yes.
which is May,
Yes.
when is it? What
May
is it?
19th.
Thank you. Well, so that's not today's problem, so I don't know what I'm doing in May. Now I know, on May 19th, I'm gonna be at the Blanchard School.
And
Okay.
we can actually send you, tomorrow, we can send you, here's the dates from now till when this RFQ is, you know, executed, and then our anticipated negotiated client. And that's the part that'll slow down a little bit. We don't have, you know, total control over that, but what we're aiming for.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, I move to authorize the Fire Station Building Committee to approve the finalists for designer selection services in accordance with the town's designer selection procedure and applicable laws.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That is unanimous. I move to authorize the Fire Station Building Committee to negotiate a contract with a selected design service finalist, subject to town council review and final approval by the select board.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? And that is unanimous. We are at reports and announcements, almost done. We'll start at this end of the table. What you got?
John.
Yes, so as mentioned earlier, we have, just on the personnel side, we've conducted interviews, and we're still in the process of interviewing for the assistant town accountant position. We advertised the principal assessor position, and we're still collecting applications for that. We're reviewing the applications we received this week. I'll be getting feedback from our interim assessor and our finance director on the candidates that we want to move forward for the interviews for that, and for the panel we're considering as part of the principal assessor. So it'll be a representative of, like, administration will be myself, finance director, the interim assessor, our treasurer collector, representative from FinCom, as well as the representative from the Board of Assessors will be part of that panel for the interviews for that. And as Mike stated, last week we advertised for the RFQ for the design services. This Wednesday we're advertising for the road paving for the summer for DPW. And I think that might be it.
I'm sorry, Rajan, how's it going with the assistant town accountant? Are you reviewing it? Have you started interviews, or are you still collecting resumes?
No, we're still in interview. We started interviews last week, and we have some more candidates that we're gonna interview this week.
So you're gonna bring people back in for seconds?
We're gonna.
I would just leave it at that.
Yeah, we're not finished with the first round.
Oh, okay, you're not finished with the first round, okay.
What kind of support, the person who left us, she was doing payroll, a couple of other things, is she still offering support? I know she had said something about, I'm here if you need me.
She was here today.
Okay.
And last Friday.
She's been doing warrants on the weekends.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we have money in the budget to compensate her? It's not overtime, it's straight time?
It's straight
Or
time.
it's a consultant time? Like, how are we compensated?
No, she's still on payroll.
Okay, great.
It's still straight time, and it's a couple hours on the weekend.
It's much appreciated. Thank you very much for your continued service to the town of Boxborough. Okay,
We
great.
tried recruiting her back here today.
Oh, come on, you know you miss us. Come on. Yeah. All right. Anything else from Rajan? No? Mike? You're good?
Mike, if you can update what happened in the fire station building committee. I wasn't there.
Oh.
Last week, last one.
Were you there last week?
Was the meeting late? He wasn't there last week.
And not the one.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah, yeah.
Was that before town meeting?
After the
No,
fall
it's
town,
after town.
right after that, I was away. On
Yeah,
work,
mostly we talked about this, the designer selection process.
Okay.
And I told the committee that I would be bringing these three things to you tonight, the amended procedure and the two motions, and see how the board felt about the designer selection process. There was a lot of talk about how the interviews go. We're going to try to do them all in one night. Don't know how many there will be. I mean, there's been interest from about 20 different firms, but more than half of those are engineering firms, which would be sub-consultants to the architects. So there's been maybe 8 or so architects that have shown an interest, but haven't. We don't know if they're going to be submitting yet. But this Wednesday, there's a site visit at the old fire station, and then we're hoping to get permission from the landowner to take any design firms up there so they can see that as well. The site really is not as important as going over any questions that they have on the expectations, but we'll give them that opportunity. That's mostly what was discussed, though. And then, the timeline, how do we get from here to there, and what's the cost of lost time if we don't work efficiently, especially through this, design selection period.
Great. Thank you. I have two. One is, again, people send me screenshots of Facebook. Apparently Acton is doing an internship program, and they're paid internships. It's on the Acton Town website also. I just found it really intriguing because it's across all of the departments, even DPW, everywhere, paid internships, and it's calling out to college kids, right? But I was actually thinking, wouldn't it be cool if we kind of watch what was going on there? Because one of the benefits of AB Forward is that I'm getting to know the Acton Select Board, the Acton FinCom. It's kind of like, I'd like to see us more collaboration, but I thought this is amazing because let's just be honest, there are big changes coming our way. Wouldn't it be cool to be able to offer town internships, paid internships to any age, not just college kids, maybe people that are doing new things in their life or whatever, and maybe we could kind of watch what they're doing and see if they'd share how they're doing it, and it might be something for us to consider. We could get a lot of those projects. Like, I would love to see an intern work on the website. Rajan, you have plenty to do without having to redo a website. There are definitely things we could put out there. So that was just, somebody sent it to me, and I thought, what a great idea for Boxborough. So that's one. And then another big, huge thanks to the Boxborough Minutemen. They conducted a successful poop patrol on Saturday at Steel Farm in Flower Meadow. A poop patrol, not Paw Patrol, poop patrol.
The snow melts, guys.
Well, as a dog, yes. Minutemen and friends removed a significant amount of dog poop from the trails and meadow areas. Boxborough Minutemen are committed to public service for the town in addition to our ceremonial and historical duties. We are open to new members interested in exciting events like Poop Patrol, as well as similar activities. And for more information, contact Captain Rich Grady. It's captain at boxboroughminutemen, plural, .org. yeah, I mean, for anybody that has a dog or ever had a dog, when the snow melts, and the dogs are pooping on the trail, you know, so I think two things. One, if your dog is pooping on the trail, clean it up. That's probably the biggest thing. Bring a bag with you and do not leave it at other people's mailboxes. And thank you so much to the Minutemen, because they also do the Mass Ave cleanup. You'll see all those yellow bags, and they pick up all the trash on Mass Ave a couple times a year. So it's super sweet. And yeah, so if anybody's interested in joining the Minutemen or even being part of that, it did say Minutemen and Friends. You know, you just have
Thank you, Minutemen and Friends.
They are a lovely group. Yes. So thank you very much. And I'm actually bummed we did this at the end. I just wrote a note to Mike. Let's move announcements and thank yous to the beginning of the meeting. And remind me that I asked for that. But we'll leave reports at the end.
And we have a member with us, right?
Yeah. I did make it to the food patrol, unfortunately. I was really looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I had a prior engagement.
You were looking forward to it.
I was.
You are into civic engagement.
So around, play my fight, pick up dog food, love it.
All right. Yes. Well, thank you very much to you and your organization. All right, that was it for me. Bob?
I got nothing this week.
All right. Wes?
Nothing.
Priya? Sam?
Go to minutes.
Okay. Did everyone have a chance to look at the 23rd, the 2nd, and the 9th?
I did look at the three of them. I had made very small, minor changes to give them to Kelly.
And you sent them to Cal?
Yeah, and so it's not even worth noting, but that's all. I can make a motion to approve the minutes of February 23rd, 2026, the minutes of March 2nd, 2026, and the minutes of March 9th, 2026.
As amended?
As amended, sure.
Awesome. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That is unanimous.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay.